Hey guys, Kabuto25.
192.34.
With episode 43 of Ranger Review. Today we have the Super Legends, White Ranger and Gold Zero Ranger. We have the White Ranger and Gold Zero Ranger from the Jungle Fury Wave 2 line, which is the Fall Toy line when Jungle Fury was still air. We have the corresponding chase figures, the White Ranger and the Gold Zero Ranger. Now, they look really nice. They are like the same size as the Super Legends, Green Ranger and Gold Zed. The only difference is that these figures are a bit different. What I mean is that there are two different ways you can tell. One, as you guys can see, my White Ranger right here, the legs are pretty kind of tight, almost. But when you look at my Gold, he is really loose. And a lot of the figures during that time, they were really loose. You could have a loose White Ranger, a loose Gold Ranger. You couldn't tell by the package, but when you open it and you try to wiggle it a lot, it will either be stiff or really loose. I had to go through 2 waves just to find a really nice gold and white. But yeah, you can tell it's really loose. Alright, so now we have the White Ranger. Looks really nice detail for him. But since without a shield, he actually looks like a regular Power Ranger.
Yeah, I'm surprised they added it.
With the gold diamonds. You know, posability, same thing. Arms, legs, joints, head. The whole 9 yards for the same thing as the other Super Legends. Now, of course, when he has a shield, it's a really nice looking shield. This time, it's not a slip-on shield like the Green Ranger, it's actually a clip-on shield.
Like the old
the original
8-inch Green Ranger figure.
And the Automorph figures back in the days. But these, at least, can hold pretty tight compared to the original versions, because the original versions was only the 2 pegs on the top, and that was it. This time, there's actually more pegs on the back to actually have it, so it's actually more tighter now. But now you restrict a little bit of arm movement on the top because of that. But it's still not bad, I mean, it's still nice. And of course, he has Saba. Now, at least Saba is pretty good, nicely detailed. I mean, you know, on the wall with it, you can store it, or you can make him hold it, which you can always do like the other Rangers. You can pose with them, it's really nice. Actually, the Saba sword is actually a really nice inch, is a good diameter. It's not too big, it's not too small for a Ranger like this size. So
it has a lot more detail compared to the original 4-inch one.
The 4-inch one was it wasn't even fun. But this is actually a nicely detailed one. You know, hopefully, we were hoping that we would get more of these, but apparently we didn't. But you know, the White Ranger, like the 2010 one, he has both up and down, so you can hold Saba like this as well. So you know, it's really nice to see that. But if you guys want, you can always store it like this. And there's your White Ranger. Alright, so now we have the Gold Ranger. Now, without the shield, the Gold Ranger looks like a Zero Ranger now. Same articulation as the others. But now we have the ball joints. Instead of the original joints we have with Lord Zed and Green Ranger, these are all ball joints. That's why he's so loose. Now, the only bad part about the Gold Ranger is that he has no holder for a staff.
Yes, unfortunately.
Now, just like the Super Legends, we had Green Ranger that had a holder, the White Ranger has a holder. Zed never had a holder for his staff, and neither did Gold. But Gold Ranger never had a staff to begin with, but it would have been nice if they had like maybe something behind or somewhere to store it, because these things can get lost really easily too. The staff is actually a nicely detailed staff. The Gold Zero staff is really nicely detailed. I really like how the detail looks. I know that on Ranger Butt, a few people have been customizing these back in the days, and I gotta say they look pretty amazing. Now, just like the White Ranger with this shield, he has the clip-ons too. Now, there's another con to the whole Super Legends Wave 2 line. The shields on Gold and White, some of them are really loose. So as you guys can see, mine, it doesn't really close all the way tight, unlike the White Rangers. It's closed almost all tight. Some of the shields had, I don't know what Bandai did, but some of the shields were not, I guess, proportional or something, because a lot of them a few of them were pretty loose. My friend had his Zero Ranger, his was tight, but his White Ranger was loose. Like the others, he holds his staff pretty nice. I mean, you know, it's not as bad as you think it is, but it's actually pretty cool. I was hoping that we would get more of these figurines because they actually are really nice looking ones, just like Green and Zed. But they did release later waves, but we discontinued those waves, so I mean, in perspective, these are nice figures to have. I actually like them myself. That's why I have a set myself. I will say that they are pretty cheap. Gold Ranger himself is pretty cheap. You can get them for like less than $20, but White Ranger is so-so. I mean, you know, people go crazy for Tommy, but I'm like, it's alright. Also, on another note, there's also a little kind of, I guess, supposed to be a symbol on the holder, but they didn't paint it. But you know, these are actually nice figures. I do recommend you guys get them now, but you know, White Ranger, it's a little bit costly, but Gold Ranger won't be, so pick it up if you guys can. So yeah, join us next time for the Power Rangers Samurai review, which is the Samurai Megazord and the Week of Power Rangers Samurai premiere. So we come subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Hey guys, that's Good25
And Archer9234.
with episode 44 of Ranger Review. Today we have the new Power Rangers Samurai Megazord, aka the Shinkino from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. The Kuma Origami, the Ryu Origami,
Shishi Origami, Kami Origami, and Saru Origami.
aka Dragon, Bear, Lion, Turtle, Ape. Alright, so now we have the Lion Zord, aka the Shishi Origami. He doesn't move at all. That's the sad part. Like, you can't move it up and down. You can move the legs, but like that's about it. And the mouth opens and closes. That's about it. Nothing really much you can do about him. So you know, much you can do about it. The fire symbol in Chinese, the kanji, which is fall. So he's the fire lion, as you guys can call it. Okay, so now we have the Ryu Origami, the dragon. So yeah, he is the left foot. He just opens his mouth. Not really much. The legs can't do much. He holds the helmet, and in the American version, he holds the sword, which is like that. That's it.
I think it's a little bit oversized.
But yeah, he can't do much either. Just like the Shishi Origami, he can't really do much. Now we have the turtle, Kame Origami. Like the others, this one really much is like almost the smallest out of all the Zords. It is one of the arms for the Megazord. Sad part is you can't really move the head either, but you know, the fins can move, I guess, a little
bit.
But you know, the symbol for sky or heaven, which is teen, and that's about it. So now we have Kuma Origami, the bear. He opens his mouth just like Ryu does and Shishi. He really much can't. He's like you can think of him as a big square brick, because
when I first saw the show, I didn't even recognize it was a bear. It looked too weird to look
because
like
the bear because the bear will always be like this. He's like this.
Yeah.
But you know,
it was very much different. I really didn't know what the animal was at first.
It was kind of weird at first also, because when you saw him do this attack, you're thinking, so he's a sitting bear or something, but he's actually no. He's the wood, which is book in Chinese. But yeah, he can't move. That's the sad part. His legs are like just stiffly there. We have now the Sorrow Origami, which is the monkey. The elemental is earth. This one, I mean, at least this one you can move the hands up and down, you know, like a real, like in the show where the monkey actually, you know, does this and jumps up. You can actually do that. But the only downside is that, you know, the legs are
stationary.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really nice pose. I think out of all of them, this one's actually the easiest to pose. And this one also is one of the other sides of the arms. And yeah, that's about it. The only thing I don't like about all these is that they can't really do much at all besides just being displayed. You know, so you know that's the only drawback to them. But other than that, they're pretty cool. Okay, so alteration-wise, the mode changes.
Unfortunately, again, we went back to the changing of the molds.
Just like the RPM Megazords, we use the same kind of RPM mode, you know,
The same mold similar to the 2010 Megazord.
Now, we also lose one thing that a lot of people are hoping for, which is the emblem mode. But
Pink is the only one that actually can do it.
Technically, you can only Pink does it because that's how Pink was. Red is half of his emblem.
Yeah, his feet are supposed to turn sideways
Right here.
and then close up.
These two sides right here, they're supposed to be, but yeah. Blue loses his is also. And the bad part about the ape, the paint is we changed the paint. Our yellow is more darker than the Shinkeno. Shinkeno was more of a lighter yellow.
Yeah.
The face is supposed to be black, but we never actually painted it. And also you can't form emblem mode either. You can't turn the side. You're supposed to be able to turn the side and fold it. When you fold this, you're supposed to turn it and fold it.
The pivot joints that you see over here are supposed to be originally yellow, but they're great for our version.
For the bear, besides losing his emblem mode, he lost a lot of paint, like majority of the paint.
All the feet had silver on each part of the feet and the inside. And also, the feet are squished. They have the inside goes in our version, while on the Japanese version it's curved outward.
And the lack of, we lose chrome, this was chrome, and also the back is different.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's just a little small peg, unlike the Shinkeno, which was actually...
It looked more like the original Megazord where the feet would click in.
But other than that, I mean, we did keep the up and downwards, but when you put it like this, the emblem paint is not even on it at all.
Yes.
You can actually see it. It's wood. But there are pegs here, which I guess form a reason later on in the show, but we won't know until...
We don't know because everything's been modified.
Until we get the later releases of the Zords. For Kame, we changed the arm. The symbol of the Shin Changer was supposed to be on this side, but they changed it to that side for some odd reason.
The connector part for the arm was supposed to be black, but they left it gray as the body.
And the back is always different as well, so that was...
But the main body and head are pretty much identical.
It's pretty much identical. We do have the star or the sky or heaven symbol, whichever one you guys want to think of it as. Ryu Origami was changed the most. As you guys know,
his neck is missing.
Was this? Hello, yeah. Where's my neck?
On the original version, it would pop out an extra point where the neck can actually rotate up.
Ryu Origami is actually just like the original Die Ranger. It's like the notable changes to that is that
he can partially become emblem mode.
His emblem mode is water, but you can partially do it, I guess. But you can't close it up like originally. And now we changed the feature. Beside the chrome loss right here, we changed how the helmet was supposed to be stored.
Originally, it's supposed to be on top.
Right here, on the top, and it'd be a little bit like longer right here, just by an inch, because the tail would fly up.
Yeah, but it's moved to the bottom.
And now we use a sword and we stick it in the behind. It looks weird already. And also, the legs are different too. They don't really look like the real legs from the...
For the sword, the paint job has actually been removed. The hilt usually had the gold and black paint on it, and also thanks to the sword being extra big, it can't fit inside the Kajiki Origami for the sword finisher move between the US and Japanese toys.
So that means that the Japanese versions cannot actually fit the American version.
Even though they're almost identically the same size, they can't combine with any of each other.
So that means that if you go with Japanese, you stick with Japanese. You go American, you stick with the American. Now for Red, as you guys know, he is completely changed too. The head is supposed to be a bit longer, but we don't have it, and we lost paint jobs on the sides. We did keep the emblem symbol, but we lost the emblem symbol.
The connector pins that are used to form other modes in Shinkeno were completely changed. We got these kind of pins, but they're actually inside for Shinkeno.
And then you guys notice from the back, they're just pegs right now, unlike Shinkeno, where actually you take out boxes where you actually plug it in. We did keep the emblem here. It was not chromed in Japan either, but you know, we lose the legs now. We lose the leg. The leg paint, and also the emblem. You can see like the last two sides of the emblem are right here. We lose that too. So now we have the Megazord, the Samurai Megazord, aka the Shinkino now. As you guys can tell, yes, even with the even with the alterations, we lose. I mean, it looks nice. It looks like the Samurai. It looks like Shinkino, but it's actually not.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same height as Shinkino, and from far away, you could be fooled into thinking it's Shinkino, but it's not. The main changes were from the feet area. They gave this elongated extra piece of leg, which makes it look a little bit more humanistic, but it loses functions.
Now, also beside the alterations that we have, there's no chrome now, and also the fact that we lose the shield and the spinning disc.
Yeah, the hidden disc was originally allowed you to hook it up on the side,
or on the back,
or use as the main shield for the front.
Now, we do keep the sword. The sword, like the Shinkino, for pink it holds only halfway, but for yellow it holds the full way. You can see on the bottom. And the joint's actually tighter than Shinkino.
Yeah, they're harder to move.
And they're also harder to plug into. This is the exact same mode that we got for the MMPR 2010 Megazord, so you can actually swap the arms and the legs.
Yeah, and do weird kind of configurations.
Do weird configurations if you want, but other than that, it's even like if you look at the sword itself, it looks like we almost kept the Japanese design on it, but they just modified it just a little. You can see the lion, you can see the dragon, you can see the bear, you can see the turtle, you can see the monkey. We do keep like majority of it, but it's really hard to see if it was like the original Japanese one. But other than that, it's okay. Now, if you, like we said before, if you try to combine with the Japanese version, it will not work because
they also changed the configurations of how the auxiliary guys work with it.
The mode is not bad, but taking out emblem mode and rearranging everything was kind of a iffy thing. Now you can't change. Now we don't know if we can actually perform Samurai Howl because you're supposed to change the emblem mode on yellow. Unless what they do is they're gonna do what Overdrive did, have Samurai Howl but with the correct yellow. Maybe.
It's possible that we can get a different version of Samurai Megazord, like make it work.
We don't know yet. We don't know what Bandai's planning. All we know is that we got the Megazord. You can, the only thing that I don't like is that when you try to form it straight, it doesn't look straight at all. You actually have to.
It's curved backwards.
You have to do it like this to make it cool. It's nice that we do get what the Japanese did. We do have the sword like that. It looks nice like that. But other than that, I really don't see, much in the tournament. Looks okay for now. Alright, so that's about it. I do think that the tournament will get better. Let's see what happens with what Bandai America holds for us, and hopefully we get all the other Zords,
Hopefully they don't emit like Mugodayo.
But yeah, join us next week for the Power Ranger Samurai figurines, which everyone's been waiting for. Rate, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, Level 25.
And our Chinese 34.
Episode 45 Ranger Review. Today we have the Power Ranger Samurai figurines. Now, you guys know I am missing red, but I forgot the red and the Mongo at home. But I do have the other four. So we have blue, green, pink, and yellow. And these are the Mega Ranger forms. Something that Bandai, this is something that we alone made. These are 4-inch figures, so they're pretty nicely detailed. I do like how posable they are, and the only downside is the swords.
They're a little bit oversized.
They're a bit oversized, like literally they are. But what I really give credit for Bandai is they actually now we have all the Rangers with their corresponding weapons. Yellow with her slicer, blue with his bow and arrow, green with his spear, and pink with her fan. So that's a really good thing about it. They also have the swords do hold into a small peg that they have. And there's a little like phone holder that they had back in Shin Changer. They had the Shoto phone in the holder. They actually have it right here too. The belts are actually pretty nicely painted. So now we have the Blue Samurai Ranger. So it looks really nice.
He's actually fully painted.
Shockingly, yeah. Head moves, arm moves. Looks really nice. And the legs move too. And now, the funny thing about the pegs, they actually are the corresponding color. If you take out the peg, it's blue. If you take out greens, it'll be green. He's really posable with the sword. The sword, like Archer said, the sword is kind of big compared to them. And his corresponding weapon, like we said before, is the bow and arrow. Now, what's really funny about the bow and arrow, even though it's blue, they even put the disc in. Just like in the show, he's supposed to put his hidden disc inside and it will form it. they actually have hidden disc right behind it, so that's pretty cool to see. And both of his, so you can actually have him hold both the arms. Here you have him with his bow and arrow. It looks really nice. It looks really nice actually. I do like how the uniforms look on the Mega Rangers. They look really nice on them.
The changes that are done between the Mega Ranger suits and the original suits is they got knee pads and joint pads on the feet. The gloves were changed, which gave them a little bit more of an appearance back to Ninja Storm's hand gloves. And the helmets got neck visors and a mouthpiece, similar to MMPR's mouthpiece. And the main chest area has some sort of shield upgrade.
Now we have Pink. Now the only thing I don't like about Pink, about the girls, is she is really skinny on the arms.
Yeah, the arms look a little bit too flimsy to hold most of the weapons.
Yeah, like the others, heads do move up and down, you know. The whole thing is the same thing, but if you look at Blue and Pink, the girls, even their body looks really flimsy. They're really skinny compared to the others. And her cross-spinal weapon is the Heaven Fan. Now what's really interesting about this, the symbol is right here. You can't really see it, but it's right there. And the disc is right shown also. That is something I really was interested in.
Everyone always forgets that all weapons hold the hidden disc during combat.
Yeah, they put it in the back. What's really funny is that you can tell which one's the front. The front will be here, the back will be here, because the back always had a hidden disc. And when she, like the other, like I said before, when you take out the peg right here, it's pink. So you know which, so if you like forget who's now, you can actually find out by the color. So now we have Green and his wood spear. Now Green is just like Blue, same articulation, just different color. I gotta think, the only thing I have a complaint about with Green is that when you take out his spear from the package, it's a bit bendy already because of how they packaged it. And this one actually looks like the one in the show because the spear
was painted pretty much accurate.
And look, even the disc is behind it. So that was really a good little sign for Bandai. Like they actually have the weapons and all that. When he holds his weapon, the same thing. Now, of course, you can hold it like this, or you actually have both hands hold it. But when you do it, you're gonna bend it a little, so it's gonna be a little bit bendy. But you know, other than that, it's actually pretty nicely detailed. I really do give credit for them for having these kind of details on the weapons. We haven't had detailed weapons in a while, so.
Yeah, well, usually we only get gray weapons.
Or some that's not even close to the original weapons. So this was actually a really good sign that, you know, Bandai actually
Else she cared about the figures.
So finally we have Yellow and her Land Slicer. Now what's really interesting is that this thing's pretty small, but it actually has the symbol right on the top, the Shinken symbol. And just like the others, the disc is on the back. It actually shows it. So that was a really nice little added feature to it. She's really, like Pink, she's really flimsy too. Look at the arms are really skinny. But you know what, I don't mind anymore because even like that, the weapons are what I really liked about them. So yeah, these are all the figurines. With Red, with Red and Mooger, we will do more of them in the future. But right now, with the ones I just bought, these are actually really cool looking. I gotta say that I give Bandai really good props for these figures. These are actually one of the good figures that we have gotten in recent years compared to others. But you know, I'm not complaining that we will get better, but this is actually a start for us. You know, with the correcting weapons and the body sculpture, it's actually good. But you know, they're really cool figures. I actually really do think that this line has some potential compared to the previous lines. So you know, it's something to look forward to as well. But yeah, these are nice. I would say get them if you can. There's also a 5-pack. The only difference is that those are the regular figurines. They're not
regular suits.
They're not the Mega Ranger form. They're the regular suits. But if you want that, you can get that. I actually prefer this set more now because of just having them. I will say that Pink and Yellow are pretty rare to find because they're only one per case, while the Blue, Green, and Red are more. So Yellow, Pink, and the Mooger are more of a limited. But yeah, so join us next week for more Samurai. We will review the Samuraizer and the Spin Blade. So come subscribe and we'll see you next Saturday. Hey guys, like Blue 25
and Archer9234.
With episode 46 of Ranger Review. Today we have the Samurai Spin Sword and the Samuraizer from Power Rangers Samurai. Alright, so we have now the Samuraizer. The package would be, it says Power Rangers Samurai, and it includes some of the Ranger stickers, all the 5 elements that they have. The lightning bolt of, you know, Saban's famous logo. the Shiba clan, and it says Power Ranger Samurai. I mean, it's not a nice feature. And here's the Samurai phone. Funny thing is that it actually says Power Rangers Digital Changer.
And it's weird how they changed it to Power Rangers, but they left the word changer.
Changer is like...
That doesn't really... It should have been Power Rangers Samurai Morpher.
Or something like that. It uses the watch batteries, if you guys... it actually is... It looks like the Shoto phone. It actually looks like the Shoto phone, actually.
It's similar in design.
And open it up. It has the new Power Rangers. This is new Ranger message. It's Morphin time. Keypad is the same thing as the Shoto phone. The screen, it has the lightning bolt on it, and it looks like actually like a phone. Battery and signal strength. The funny thing is that in the show, you guys have seen it. It's digitalized, so it has all the Rangers symbols: fire, water, wood, earth, and sky.
But if you watch the show when they don't have the effect in place, it does have this plain background besides the words.
Alright, so when you open it, press the button. Now, when they say Go-Go Power Rangers, it reminds you of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or Go-Go Samurai, which you do it.
It only has about 4 different sound effects.
Now, the funny thing is that the beep, it's the Overdrive/Bowcanger morpher.
Yeah, and also if you leave the phone on for after a little bit, it'll start doing the phone ring from the overdrive tracker / the acceler.
The acceler, when it's like the calling sound, which you guys do.
The only surviving sound effect from the Shoto phone is the transformation sound. You trigger it when you hold down the gold button.
So yeah, this is it. I will say it is a light toy. Like literally, this thing is light as heck. Compared to a normal phone, even my phone is actually pretty heavy compared to this. And this is a $15 phone. $15.
There's also another drawback. Since it runs off the button batteries, there's no power switch, so...
That really pisses me off now. Because as you guys know, Bandai's always have on and off switches for almost every single morpher that we've had since the Mighty Morphin toy. Well, not including Mighty Morphin, but almost every toy line has a morpher that actually has the on and off switch. This one does not. Now, alteration-wise, this is one of the worst morphers to date now. And I thought the Solar Cell morpher was actually the worst from Mystic Force. This is actually the worst because one,
keypad doesn't function.
The keypad is solid plastic. It's
no sound effects, no nothing. It's just a solid piece of plastic.
I thought the Samurai line was actually going to be something worthwhile to see, but the morpher just made me just think to Bandai, what the heck did you guys do to this morpher? This is horrible.
The photograph of the Samuraizer used on the box is actually a prototype of the Samuraizer with a pushable keypad. Another alteration, obviously, is the screen. On the Shoto phone, the screen buttons that are on the bottom over here, they're usually on the left, and then the screen is actually on the right. Since we removed brush mode, technically, it will all move to a standard horizontal position.
And the funny thing is that in the show, the morpher actually is like the Shoto phone. And
it is the Shoto phone.
It actually, like in the show, it looks like a small little LED light coming here.
But it is the top of the brush.
It's like they just do the, whatever symbol they are.
There's no LED light in here when you press the button like the Shoto phone.
Because there's supposed to be an LED light, this is why it's painted red, and there's also a lack of paint from the back.
Since the brush was removed, the top part was flattened, but it's supposed to have a curved out shape for the brush, but it's on the bottom.
Because you can see that it actually looks like, because if it was a real Shoto phone, it would have it all the way up here and then folds. But since we're using the stupid Samuraizer.
Also, the little attachment on the bottom for all your accessories, little doodads for the phone, has also been removed. There's also another alteration with compared to the show. The show changed the colors of the Shoto phone buttons. They made these a little bit more darker, and this is turned to blue.
Now, I just hope that when the Sushi Changer comes out, we won't have this horrible piece of junk, because right now I'm really extremely disappointed at how Bandai made this toy. It's literally just unmistakably bad. Alright, so now we have the Samurai Spin Blade, aka the Shinkimaru. It's almost like the Shinkimaru almost. It does have the hidden disc, which is the disc that they use. The extra gimmicks we have is, I guess, a longer sword, the holder when you put it in your pocket, and this little clip which clips onto this little hold it on. The funny thing is actually attachment. It just attaches to the blade and
makes it longer.
Yeah, and you use that to
lock it
in. It is nice, and like always. Okay, so all at the just like the Shinkamu, spin it and you see the lion running, just like the
show.
The only downside I have with this is that there was no sound effects at all.
Yeah, unlike the Shinkimaru, it does have sound effects, but for ours it doesn't have any sound effects.
I mean, it's actually a nice size, okay?
It's decent.
It's decent. I mean, it's not too small, it's not too big. It's just about the right size.
And they do have the Inumaru clip on, so maybe at some point we'll still get the toy in some fashion.
Maybe, but the good feature is the spinning disc. That's the only feature that it has in this. Alright, so alterations, like we said, no sound effects. This is actually smaller than the Shinkimaru.
Yeah, it's a little bit thinner. It's longer than the Shinkimaru, but it's thinner.
And compared to a real hidden disc from the Shinkenger line, it's pretty small.
About half size, and it most likely doesn't function with the Inumaru because behind each hidden disc it has different plastic slots that when you plug it in, it'll make the specific sound effect. Behind there's
nothing.
Anything.
And it's just a plain.
So if we ever do get the Inumaru, it won't function at all.
And if you want to try to put a real hidden disc in, well,
it doesn't work.
But I mean, it does have the Shinken symbol.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. It does have the proper molding and coloring and painting job. And of course, if you have the Mogu Daio bazooka, it won't fit in here either. It's too small.
Even this part right here,
it won't fit in there, and plus it's slightly.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be wider, further up.
I mean, it's okay if you guys didn't get the Shinkimaru. I mean, this is actually a nice little alteration. But if you don't mind the whole
no electronics,
but you do get that spinning little lion thing. It actually is not bad. The only thing I don't like is that this part looks kind of too big. Like it does, I don't know, maybe it does look like can go with Inumaru, we don't know yet. We're gonna have to wait until they actually have the Samuraizer thing. But yeah, final judgment, okay.
Sword is good. Samuraizer isn't.
If you ever get the Samuraizer, please just go to Dollar Store and just get one because this is not worth $15. I am mad.
Seriously, you suggest you find the Shoto phone.
Mad. I am mad. I spent $15 on this piece of junk and that is not even. I thought the buttons actually work. I mean, spinning feature. At least we kept that. That was a good thing.
And it's a little bit bigger, so it kind of balances out from the changes.
Yeah, it does, but this doesn't justify anything. Alright, so join us next week for the Beetle folding Zord from Power Ranger Samurai, aka the Kabuto Origami from Shinkenger. Here comes Square. See you next week. Hey guys, I'm Kabuto25.
And Archer9234.
Episode 47 Ranger Review. Today we have the Power Ranger Samurai Beetle Zord from Power Ranger Samurai, aka the Kabuto Origami from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. So, in Power Ranger Samurai Episode 3, Jaden got the hidden power disc and unlocked the Beetle folding Zord. So in the whole Samurai line was that they were losing and they had to use the special hidden disc that they had to overcome the obstacle, in which it was Takeru who had the Kabuto. So now we have the Beetle Zord, or the Kabuto. I call it the Kabuto because I'm used to it. Just the features is it rolls and the head spins because of the wheel. But now what's funny is that we have a Power Ranger figure. Thing is that this is a solid figure, cannot move at all.
Just same as the standard 4-inch green Mega Ranger figure, except it doesn't move.
It doesn't move at all, but the head, is a little nice detail. It clips on to the back, and I guess you'd say it rides on the Zord. Now the funny thing is that this is actually just like the Dino Thunder line, where we had the auxiliary Zords. They were released.
But this is the first time that they were released individually.
Just like in Japan.
Because in Dino Thunder they were having problems where Bandai thought, well, we shouldn't release them individually because they won't sell, so let's put them together in either some set. So they put the Dimetrazord in the
Dino Megazord and the Parasol and Kylo in a little big box set. But we were missing the
Syphilizord.
The Syphilizord. Hence why we never got the Syphilizord. But this is actually a nice little way that Bandai's saying, okay, we'll give you guys this. Alright, alteration wise, as you guys can see, it is bigger. The Japanese version is bigger than the American one.
Also, the orange we use on the US one is slightly faded while it's darker and richer on the Japanese one.
Now, we did keep the gimmick of the spinning head,
but it's different.
Japanese is different.
They use the disc over here to spin the head while it's just the wheels.
Alright, but this thing does have wheels, it does roll, and
it does have a locking feature for the head. Because, for example, if you wanted to have the head straight and not move, you push out this lock, and it will no longer move no matter what.
But you can still roll with it, which is nice.
Well, on the American one, you weren't able to do that at all.
And now you can have the hidden disc out. This is the hidden disc that is inside the Kabuto Origami. This is the same one that they used in Samurai Episode 3.
Yes, Jaden is actually holding the Japanese Kabuto Origami disc.
Now in the American version, as you guys can see, there is a disc right here, but it does not spin. But it's actually smaller, like this small compared to this. I mean, they could have done the whole origami thing, but I don't know why they did not, because...
Other changes to the Kabuto Origami to the Beetle Zord is that these paint applications were not included on legs, and the top part of the Kabuto details for here are not on the Beetle Zord set.
So yeah, you can see, like, there's also different clips. You guys notice there's clips. And also, when it forms the Battle Wing Megazord, the
head is missing.
Yeah.
On the Kabuto Origami, it holds the head.
It's just right here. It just shows it right here, which I guess they will do the formation, maybe not.
They do keep the changes where you have to pull these off, like that on the Battle Wing formation.
And it's actually formed differently. In the Japanese version, the legs are supposed to form on the sides of the Megazord. Alright, so now we have the Beetle combination
Samurai
with this.
Beetle Megazord, I assume that's what they call it.
What's they gonna call it? As you guys see, it is different from the Japanese version. It's really much kind of weird. The really awkward part is that this is the first time we actually use the helmet. Just like in Shinkenger, you guys can see the helmet's already inside the Megas in the Zord.
And it would go right on top.
But for us, it's a clip. They use the same helmet, but we just put this on the top, which is really strange because that hasn't happened since Operation Overdrive, because that's when we used the helmet.
Also, another change is that the back part of the Beetle Zord was actually converted into a shield system for the US one, while on the Japanese one, the whole thing is really connected into the back. It's just simply, you lower this piece over here, and it connects onto the three prong, and you lock it in place, while the 2 feet sides connect to the
two
arms.
This change is really, really weird.
It's not bad.
I mean, it's not like, of course, it won't be like the show, because you guys...
It won't match, nothing matches.
It won't match, but I guess the helmet is similar to it in some ways. But, it's a decent thing.
You could also do different weird combinations that are not in the show. For example, the pin over here can be connected to the arms, and you can do weird things with them.
It's good. We will get the Battle Wing Megazord in the future, but we are just waiting for the Swordfish to come out, because then that is when we will see finally the whole formation of everything. Overall, it's a okay toy. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's something. At least we got the auxiliary swords. That's the main part of the whole.
Yeah, we're getting all 4 instead of where we lost an arm back in time.
Or we lose a leg or something like that. But it's actually pretty cool. But it's okay. I guess it's not really that bad. But losing the hidden disc feature was kind of a downside to it. But
yeah, now we know we're not going to really get what the inner Mara really is supposed to be.
Yeah, and hopefully the Sakenmaru or the others. You can still get the Kabuto Origami in certain places. But yeah, so join us next week for the Power Ranger Samurai Cycles. Come subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Hey guys, Kabuto 25.
And Archer 9234.
With episode 48 Ranger Review, today we have the Power Ranger Samurai, the disc cycles. I will say, the past years, bikes have been pretty dull and pathetic in Bandai's part, but for Samurai, they actually improved a bit you know, a bit better. Inside you get the bike and the figurine. Now the figurine is just like the others, like in the...
It's stiff.
It's stiff. You can't really... The arms move, but... And the head moves.
So
but,
not the feet.
So you have him...
And they're not, and the feet are not even painted.
And so he's just crouching down. What's funny is, this is not the Mega mode. This is the regular mode. This gimmick is that when you roll on it, the wheels spin.
Yeah.
So when you just do this, it rolls. So, you know, it's a pretty cool feature. What's really interesting about the bike for now,
the kick.
It has beside the kick, all of them have the correct symbol of whatever they are. Blue is water, and here's the water symbol. That's pretty decent.
My only complaint really is that they made it blue in the Red Ranger, but the feet are blue and green. They should have made the Green Ranger cycle and not red.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because in Toy Fair we saw the Green Ranger and the Gold Ranger cycle. In the first line we have the Red and Blue Ranger. Now what's really funny about these figures is that when you take them out, you can actually put in the 4-inch Mega Rangers on them.
Yeah, they're pretty much scaled the same exact way.
So that's, you know, so you can have others right on it. So then you can have either red, blue, green, pink, or yellow, you know, just riding on the cycles. It looks, I mean, it's something better, I guess.
I particularly like this design because it's actually fairly detailed from the tires to the middle wheel to the front. As you can see, it actually works with the 1 foot, 1 leg with the wheels. They actually are at the same level, so that you can use them either way. Or you can put them on the other side because they're interchangeable.
Yeah, they're interchangeable. Same thing with the 2010 Megazord. They're both the same thing. They're interchangeable. And if you had 2 bikes, you would make the Megazord roll instead of being stiff. It's actually a really nice little kind of gimmick. It's actually better than 2010 MMPR version because that one just looked really weird. This one actually makes pretty good sense. You know, even though you would replace green if you had red, I would say get it if you really care about the whole line. But to me, it's an
accessory.
It's an accessory, you know. Kids will like it because it conforms with the Megazord and the little spinning wheel is just.
It's also good in display.
Yeah, like the bike itself, I'd say is one of the most best ones we've gotten in the past few years.
I also noticed it has an extra connector on the side. It must be used either for when you have both bikes in place or it's for a future connection of some sort.
Because maybe they might do what Bandai did with the 2010 line, which is all the bikes were combined together. Because with green and gold coming out soon, well, in the fall, we'll have more, you know, interchangeable mechas, hopefully. You know, it's pretty cool. I mean, I really, at least in this point, we can use the 4-inch Mega Ranges onto the bikes, because back in the days, you know, bikes...
You could interchange certain figures, some were bigger, some were too small.
It was just plain weird, but you know, it's actually pretty cool. I like it, but I don't really recommend getting the whole thing just for the Samurai, but get it if you really like it. Kids will enjoy it because of the gimmicks that it has, and parents, you guys can, you know, have some fun with it too, interchange with the Megazord and with future Megazord coming out. But yeah, join us next week for the Power Rangers 2011 Retrofire Megazords. Rate, come subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, that's Glue25.
Archer 9234.
With episode 49 Ranger Review. Today we have the new Power Rangers 2011 Power Rangers Samurai, the Retrofire Megazords. Finally, after about a year and a half, we finally got back the Retrofires. But this time, it's not a cardboard box, it's a circular box. What's really funny is that they say Power Rangers Samurai, but it says Retrofire Series.
And it shows the show logo.
And it shows the logo on the top of the Power Ranger logo. The box art looks really nice instead of the whole cardboard stuff.
It's loosely based off the
Bionicles.
The Bionicle containers.
But instead, it's see-through, so you can see what you get instead of the Bionicles, where they were just pieces. So we have now the SPD Megazord and the Jungle Pride Megazord. Just like the others also, really posable, and they each have their own specific weapon. So SPD Megazord has his big gun, the Jungle Pride has the Torn Fuzz and the new additional claws. Alright, so now we have the SPD Delta Squad Megazord, aka the Deca Ranger Robo and Deca Rangers. Really cool. Just like all the others, really is posable.
Yeah, it pretty much has the same posable joints from the previous versions.
And there's also the peg and butt.
Yeah, unfortunately in this set to make it cheaper, they had to remove the stand and stickers in order to reduce the price from $16 to $12.
Technically it's from 10 to 12, but it's actually a better concept because if you have the other, like say you have extras of the stands, instead of putting the Wild Force, the MMPR Megazord, or the High Octa Megazord, the Thundersource and Magi King and all that, you can actually put these on too.
Yeah, so they're compatible with the older stands.
Just like all the Retrofires, the shoulder pads actually come off.
Yeah.
But this time, the funny thing is that only one side only does it. Pink can't do it for some reason. Now, the only bad part I don't like about this, besides the posability is really good, the judgment sign on Pink, it doesn't move at all.
Certain details are like removed, like the car's vehicle numbers and like mainly gray paint where it would go where the lights were, they're not included on the set.
You guys can see this thing actually looks like the Delta Squad Megazord, but it doesn't have that much details. Now the head does move like always, but you can barely see the visor now, because even in the deluxe version, it was really hard to see the visor anyways. Like Archer said, the gray paint on the legs, the hands, everything.
So it loses that little bit of detail.
But instead we have a bigger gun now.
Yeah, this is way bigger compared to the actual pistol they used in the show. It's loosely based off the movie version of the gun.
The movie version of Deck Ranger had the blast buggy. The gun was really big. Now the difference that I don't like about this gun is, besides it being gray, it's not painted. Most of the times the weapons would have been painted, but this is just plain gun. I was hoping maybe the blue, yellow, and red would be at least on the pistol front, but it's not. And you only can hold this on one side, the left side, where yellow is. Because for Pink, it just grabs it from the side. It will look like it's firing right at you.
You can pretty much be posed in any direction. You can also try to recreate the pose that we used inside the movie.
Yeah, the movie one, since you can actually bend.
Yeah, so you can kneel him down.
You can actually kneel him down and pretend he's doing the firing charge. And yellow actually has an elbow joint where you can actually bend it. So it looks like it's actually reloading the pistol and just firing at it. I mean, it's a cool little thing. The really good detail about it is even the wheels are see-through. You can actually see the wheels on the Megazord. So that's really a really cool little feature. But like we said, you can use the stand for the others because they are compatible. Same features as the others. Alright, so now we have the Jungle Prime Megazord, aka the Geki Changer from Juken Sentai Geki Ranger. Just like the Jungle Prime. The only thing I don't like is how yellow's feet look like. It looks like a brighter yellow.
Yeah, the yellow is like, it's sort of like a lighter, brighter yellow compared to the darker yellow.
It's like a neonish yellow.
Yeah,
compared to this yellow, which was actually the correct kind of yellow.
Yeah, it's more close to an orangey yellow.
So it's not bad. Just like the others, it's really posable like the rest. Okay, but this time you can actually bend the feet really far up to down here. So that's really nice to see. So it looks like you can actually jump. Now the only con about this is that you have the two little, I guess,
the feet pieces.
The feet pieces. Just like the MMPR Megazord and the Wild Force Megazord, they had these in the middle.
They acted like skirts.
Yeah. When you bend it like this and you pose it for after a long periods of time, it will actually stay up. So it's really kind of annoying if you like pose with the Jungle Pride or the Megazord and did a like sword slashing pose from like the air. After a while, this will actually stay up. You would actually bend it down or stick it down really for like a long time in order to put it back in position. Just like the others, head moves, but this time the elbow joints on both sides move, and the fist can actually rotate 360. Now the weapons that you come with is a Tonfa. This Tonfa staff is just like in the deluxe version, but instead it wasn't a solid one like this. It actually bends because it's plastic. It has yellow's, cheetah's tail, jaguar's tail, and a lion's tail. That's how they would make it. Now the interesting feature is that in this one we have the claws, these claw-like things. What they do is you just put it on the Jungle Pride. It's an H shape on the arm, on the hand.
So it falls out relatively easily.
And it doesn't really stick that well either, so you gotta be careful on that part. And you actually have him with claws. In this way, he looks like he's Wolverine, in my opinion, because Wolverine has the big claws.
This wasn't in the show at all. And it kind of also looks like Kamen Rider O's Kamakiri form with his weapons.
Yeah, maybe it's a fashion to old too. So just to put on top of us, same as always, you just put it in, push it in the hole. Yep, and sometimes in the beginning you would have to try to use something to stretch out the arm and just hold it. And now in this way, he looks, you know, pretty cool. But the claws are not really that necessary. But they do add a little kind of cartoony-ish Wolverine feeling to it, because technically it is an animal, so you know, it's not that bad. I must admit that this line is actually a better improvement compared to the past years of Retrofires. Everyone, like, the second wave was just the Thundersaurus, the Valve Max, and the Magic King. Those were actually pretty hard to get, and they weren't really that wide release, so people had a hard time trying to find them, and they were actually pretty expensive online. And just like in the show, when the Jungle Pride actually does the spinning attack,
It's still in the toy too.
you can do it. Yay, there's something really cool about that. This is actually a cool feature. I really do like the new Retrofire line. It actually does have a better schematics to it. You can pose them like this. I actually find, and the new boxes are really good because you can stack them up now instead of just displaying them, stacking them up. They look really nice.
And you can keep them. They're not like, you know, cheesy, those really hard, difficult ones that you have to open and then you rip and try.
Funny thing is that they actually said collector's edition on this box too, which is really cool. And the funny thing is that even though it's a samurai, they actually have the original logo of every single series. But you know, this is actually, I would recommend getting these. But if you guys don't have them yet, just wait patiently because they just released in stores and not many stores have them yet from what I've seen and from what people have said on Major Board. So just take some time and you find them. But that's it for these Retrofires. Join us next time for the Power Ranger Samurai, the Swordfish Zord. Be comment, subscribe. We'll see you next Saturday. Hey guys, Echo25.
And R29234.
In episode 50 of Ranger Review, today we have the Power Ranger Samurai, the Swordfish Sword, aka the Kajiki Origami from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. So this is the Swordfish Sword. It actually looks like a fish now. Now the gimmick on this one is when you roll the reel, the fins actually move back and forth.
Which is actually a cool addition.
Compared to what Japan got, you know,
That's like one of the few positive swords, the Swordfish change.
Yeah. It has a mouth at least, so you know that's something nice also. And of course, just like the Beetle Origami, the Beetle Zord, we have the Blue Ranger now instead of the Green Ranger.
Unfortunately, like the Green Ranger, he's stiff. He can't really do much.
He spins the sword and he moves his head. That's it. And you just plug him in like the other ones. Now this actually looks kind of cool. In my perspective, this actually looks kind of cool having something like this. It actually makes sense, you know.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's a good replacement for the hidden disc feature.
Even though you actually see the disc right here and they actually use it in the show. But you know, this is actually a really good, you know, nice little feature at it. If you guys remember in Dino Thunder, they did the same thing, but instead they had a little small little hook that actually attached to the auxiliary Zords to make the Red Ranger sit on it. This time we just peg it in, but instead they can't move the figurine. Other than that, it's actually a really cool little feature. Now in Samurai, in episode 5, you see Kevin try looking for the Swordfish Sword, and Jaden entrusted Kevin to go find it. Now in Shinkenger, it was almost a similar, it was the exact same thing, but instead, they actually realized that the Kajiki Origami was already at the sea waiting to be caught. And just like in Samurai where we copied it, Kevin got someone's help, but instead it was just some random guy. Alright, so now we have the Samurai Megazord with the Swordfish armaments. As you guys know, this is a
very different.
The sword now actually goes on the hand instead of on the tip, where the Shinkenger would do it. This mode is a bit strange in my opinion, because
why is it moved into an arm? That's pretty much a disadvantage in a fight.
Yeah, and the fact that the arm sticks out like this, and the thing is, the sword just plugs in. It doesn't, you know, I can just randomly take it out like this.
It's a little bit of an improvement over again being the backpack in Geki Changer because all they are is simply a backpack and a helmet.
Yeah, but also
there's also another design that really doesn't work either.
But the thing about the backpack was when in Geki Changer you have like this and you have a big white gap here. You're like the legs didn't get anything, the arms didn't get anything, just the back part. So that they actually kept the helmet in the Geki Changer. This is how the helmet would actually go on. Instead of the Kabuto Origami, which it was built in. But you know, the sword originally would be on the top here, and in the show, it's not like this. You can tell it's not like this. Alright, so now alternation wise, you guys can see it's bigger. The Kajiki Origami is bigger.
Also, other things that have been changed are the removal of the torpedoes. These actually function. You can press these buttons on the side and they'll fire. Unfortunately, there's no torpedoes on the toy anymore.
There's no torpedo. There's supposed to be a torpedo there, but there's nothing there now.
Also, another change that was removed is the feature when the disc is spinning. When you spin the disc, the Beetle goes up and down, up and down. That's the simple gimmick. And that's the lock for the nose. But since they removed the hidden disc from the Kajiki Origami to the Swordfish, we lost that feature.
The only good thing is that the Kajiki Origami's tail doesn't move while ours actually moves.
Yeah, so that's like the only plus between the US version and the Japanese version, is the extra detail to the tail.
In Japanese though, the fish would be on the back and the sword actually
will go in between
the beak, and then when they did the finisher, it would come down and slash them.
Yeah.
Pros and cons are it actually is something beside a backpack. The con is it's smaller. The sword is the arm.
Cheaper plastic, unfortunately, too. Although they kept this color scheme correct.
The color is exactly the same as the Kajiki Origami.
Yes, they perfectly match the color. A few other things that have been changed though too. When they form into the Battle Wing Megazord, the tail does remove from the Japanese version and American one, but the Japanese version does this extra step where it opens up.
An American,
it just pops off.
Open it up, and so this would just be like this.
You can still do it, yeah, but the point is that the fin portion of it doesn't open up. So obviously the Battle Wing Megazord formation has changed.
The only bad part I have about this toy line right now is I would not pay $20 for a little feature like this.
Yeah, because even though you do get the decent looking figure and the Swordfish sword, it's really not worth $20.
And the funny thing is, the Swordfish sword wasn't really released with the Kabuto and the Tiger Origami.
For some reason they released the Beetle Zord and the Tiger Zord
first,
but they skipped on the Swordfish. It should have been the other way around.
It's supposed to be Beetle, Swordfish, and then Tiger. The packaging is the same as the others. The only difference is that now we replaced the paper and the sticker here. But everything else is still intact. Even the back is the same as the others. All it is you see the Battle Wing Megazord right here, and you can see it is changed differently. But you know, other than that, it's an okay toy, but not worth $20 really much in my opinion. So you know, it's it's worth it if you're gonna collect.
Again, if you can't afford Shinkano and all the other origamis for
this
whatever
is a nice little
stopgap.
Yeah. Join us next week for the Power Rangers Jungle Fury, the Battle Claws, aka the Geki Changers from Geki Ranger. Rate, comment, subscribe. Hey guys, like Blue25
and Archer9234.
Episode 51 of Ranger Review. Today we have the Power Rangers Jungle Fury, the Battle Claws, aka the Geki Changers from Juken Sentai Geki Rangers.
Now, before we begin, we have to point out this was the series that actually did not use the Japanese changers used for the show's morphers.
First time in a while. In Jungle Fury, they had the sunglasses.
Yes, which were called the solar morphers, not to get confused with the solar cell morpher from Mystic Force.
But we did get these, but these were weapons, role-playing weapons.
Yeah, they were modified into the Battle Claws, which came with extra accessories.
The accessories were just like a claw
and some fire designs that connected.
It was weird.
I think the main reason why we didn't use the Geki Changers in the show is because these toys were unpopular with most fans because we have a non-functional left version. It doesn't do anything. The right side is the only one that actually has sound effects.
The right side holds a battery and is more heavier. The left side is just plain nothing.
Yeah.
don't, I mean, I can understand why people are like.
And plus, it's also cumbersome because on the show they use a different material for the toy compared to the toy, where it's like really hard to deal with.
And the fact that these actually the show ones look more realistic because the wristband was not the same. It actually looked like a darker wristband, and it was like a fabric or something. So that was the only difference.
And it was more bendable. While the toy version, you really can't move your wrist.
So I have. This is how it will look like. Now, thing is, it's really, really hard to fit on an adult size hand.
Yeah, it's okay for a kid, but it still has limited movement. But for an adult, it's way too small.
Yeah, it is. So as you guys can see, I have it at the end of the wrist, so that's not really worth.
So if you have big hands, you're pretty much screwed if you wanted to use it.
I'm lucky that my hands can actually fit this by luck because, yeah, it's not really comfortable around me right now. On and off switches right here.
As you can see, Master Shafu actually voices the sound effects. This toy actually has 25 different sound effects, which would make it the third changer that has the most sound effects.
The second one is the Lightspeed Rescue Battle Booster.
Well, the first one now is the Morph from Gokaiger.
Mobiles.
Every time you press a button, he says the attack name. The first side controls attacks 1 through, I think, 12, and then the other button controls attacks 12 through 25. They're motion sensitive. The middle button is the transformation sound effect. Pretty much, it's a decent toy. Now, the other side, unfortunately, doesn't have any electronics, so it's pretty much a dummy. The only thing it actually has is a hidden compartment that holds the attack names inside over here.
Now, alteration wise, besides the fact that we actually got it, but we didn't use these as Morpher, we actually took off about, I don't know, I forgot how many sound effects, but a lot of the sound effects were taken out of.
Of course, Master Shafu's voice is never used, and they also removed 2 of the 4 lights from the hand.
The mold was almost the same.
But we didn't also get these special rubber straps. These were completely different from what we got. They used a lesser material. Also, the hidden compartment that holds the scratch information was removed as well from the right hand. So basically, when you got the US version of the left hand, it was basically a waste.
But Geki Changer, in some sense, it was an okay series, but it was more of a martial artist kind of thing. So in Jungle Fury, it wouldn't really make sense that much.
Yeah, and I think there would probably also be a problem with kids punching people. I think that's another reason why.
Because in Geki Rangers, you do see them do the attacks, the punching. It's like a martial artist kind of thing. Chinese martial arts versus like, it's like the yin and yang. The
drunken
yin,
boxing?
Yeah, yin and yang kind of like. But even though you do see the Rangers actually wore these because that was part of the uniform. But
you didn't know what they were.
We barely saw them actually fight with them, so that was actually a kind of disadvantage. I mean, this is an okay toy, but like I said, if you're an adult collector, your hands will not fit this unless you actually
modify the
strap. But it's if you like Geki Rangers, then go for it because it's something. But if you're not a fan of it, then it's one of these things that you can just say it's okay, but I don't need it.
Skip it. It's again, they try to design a unique changer for the show because they were always using cell phone. So whenever they design a unique one, they usually screw up. Just like recently, they screwed up with the Tensoder. It was a head with cards.
I know it says gotcha. But it's these unique things that make it funny.
It's either a hit or a miss, and unfortunately, the Geki Ranger changer was a miss. Which also brings up a question: why they gave Geki Chopper the same changers as the other 3?
It's a hit and miss, so if you guys want it, go for it. I mean,
only get it if you're a serious collector for Geki Rangers. If you're just a casual fan that likes collecting the series, I suggest you skip this changer.
Because the sounds are nice, but
yeah, you get 25 sounds, which is okay, but you can't do anything else.
After that, you just wear them like gloves. You can't really do much. But that's about it. So join us next week for the main one from Power Rangers, the metallic figurines. Rate, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, like Kabuto 25
and R29234.
With episode 52 of Ranger Review. Today we have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, Automorphin, and the basic 5-inch figures. So we have now the basic Rangers. They look similar. They actually do look similar, but they are actually not. Blue Ranger is the Automorphin and Pink Ranger is the basic. They released 2 versions of these. The first version was the movie one. When the Power Rangers movie came out, back in the days, Bandai thought, since people still love Power Rangers, they would sell the figurines.
So they made a special metallic version, but they didn't make the movie suits, which I thought was weird. They just
these were not the movie suits. If you guys remember the McDonald's version, the McDonald's had a promotion for the movie. Those were the movie suits. Those actually looked like the movie
But
suits.
the basic figures were never looked like the movie suits. They were just the basic metallic version.
But in the show, we did see the metallic armor, but it wasn't like...
It was used for like 3 episodes.
Like 3 or 4 episodes, but the thing is that they didn't really look metallic, because in the show they had glitter on every.
Yeah, they were sparkly,
and they shine. And these they don't. But funny thing about these figures, they are actually just like the original Automorphin figures.
Yeah, just metallic.
Just metallic, and we changed the symbols. The original symbols: Mastodon, Pterodactyl, Triceratops, Saber-tooth tiger, Tyrannosaurus, Dragonzord / White Tigerzord. Now we have the Falconzord, the Frog, the Crane, the Wolf, the Bear, and the Ape. Then we had the Automorphin figures. Now these Automorphins, they were not packaged in this box actually. They were packaged in a special box. It was like the Alien Ranger kind of box, yellow, green. The only difference is that, besides them being Automorphin, they were actually different. They were not available like everywhere, because they're pretty kind of,
They were kind of rare.
Uncommon. They were uncommon instead of rare. They were kind of uncommon because, from what I remember, it was only like maybe KB's. I don't remember clearly, but I just know that KB's was like the only place that carried it for now. But the Automorphins, they're the same exact thing. They have the same posability as the original Automorphins. The leg joints, the arms, all that. And they do have the same gun. They use the same gun for like the past.
Yeah, all 3 seasons use the exact same Blade Blaster.
The Blade Blaster, it was the same exact thing.
I prefer this Blade Blaster over any other Blade Blaster from either later years or the 2010 line, because it was a lot stiffer and it looked better in white.
And actually is not plastic. And the funny thing, what I really like about the originals is that there's a peg in the hand, there's a hole in the... So it's like, hey, guess what, guys? So much easier. That concept was actually nice. And technically, the Blade Blaster was somewhat white in the show anyway. Now, the funny thing about the Automorphins in the movie, they actually have the current cast: Tommy, Adam, Kimberly, Billy, Aisha, and Rocky. Now, Aisha, Rocky, Adam, and Tommy did have an Automorphin in the second series, but
it was very rare.
Those were really rare to find. The common ones were always the original first wave. Now, the first wave, everyone will agree, they were actually one of the coolest figurines in the MMPR Twilight. Even to now, I actually think those were the coolest ones. Because they had a gimmick. Unlike the figures now, we don't really have gimmicks that much. You have Billy's head, boom, he's back to the Ranger. Now, the Automorphins, the movie versions are pretty rare, because since they were pretty uncommon, people are paying about maybe $60, $70 for one figurine. If you're lucky enough, you can get a whole set. So now we have Pinks. Same posability as always, head. These were the same, they use the exact same mold as the originals. All they did was just paint it, nice and shiny, and they changed the logo on the chest.
These figures do have some limited posability though, because the legs can't be bent all the way back, and then the arms don't bend all the way back either.
Yeah, but the thing is that you can actually at least
you can do that.
Turn the figure, but other than that,
certain things you can't do though, like twisting the wrist.
Yeah, you can, but you can do this. Now the difference between these is that this is the first time we actually, each and every other figure, as you guys can see from the background, we have blue and yellow in the package. They included the gun, the Ranger, and the power coin, the corresponding power coin to, whatever Ranger is. But the funny thing is, these are the original. These are the original
power coins.
Original 5 power coins. Pterodactyl, Triceratops, and Saber-tooth tiger.
They actually never released ninja coins.
The Ninjetti coins were never released. Funny thing is that these were actually colored, but they were the original power coins. They were just painted this spray
metallic version.
Yeah. So you got pink with pink, blue with blue, yellow with yellow.
The thing I didn't like though is that they released these power coins, but at this point in the series, they weren't selling the Power Morpher anymore.
Yeah. It even says how do you use it with the power coin, but majority of the people by then, they either got rid of the power coin or something.
Yeah, so it's like kids who joined the series like late season 2, season 3, you didn't have the Power Morpher at that point. So I thought that was like a big screw up.
The 8-inch figures, the same thing. They had the movie logo and everything, but they just didn't really sell well because I guess people already had the original 8 inches. They didn't really want another set because they were exactly the same thing, just shiny. The only thing that I would say is get White Ranger because White Ranger was only available on the White Tiger Zord. Other than that, you can just skip this line. I would say these figures are actually kind of cool. I really would get them, but you know, just don't spend so much money on these. You can get them loose, but I would actually get them really just for the power coins. The power coins are really nice money. If you want the Automorphin, it will cost you pretty big penny. But yeah, so join us next week for the Mix and Morph base from the 2010 Power Rangers toy line. If you come subscribe, we'll see you next week. Hey guys, like Kabuto25
And Origami234.
With episode 53 of Ranger Review. Today we have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2010, the Mix and Morph base. So this was the, I guess, role-playing item for the 2010 line, in which you have two figures, green and red. And what the Mix and Morph base does is that you can break them apart and you can rearrange them any way you like.
It's sort of like a Frankenstein thing, where you put a body in, match up the pieces.
The funny thing is that they actually tell you when you buy the others, you can do the same exact thing. This is the Power Morpher. It actually is a nice, decent size. And guess what? Dragon coin. That's the only good part. We have a dragon coin. Now the back is actually correct. This is actually the correct back for Power Morpher. It has a Z symbol. It has all the things on it.
This is what it's supposed to be.
This is the correct version, not the crappy one that we got back in 1993. But it's still something, you know? Now, the Green Ranger and you have the Translucent Red Ranger. What you do is that you have this key thingy. You insert it into the back, and then
he falls apart.
So now we have a whole bunch of pieces. Now what you do is you open up the morph in base, slide open. Then we'll put Tommy's legs in. We'll put the Red Ranger's hand in. We'll put his body in. It has to click. The body has to click, and we'll put Tommy's head. So what you do is that you slide it back in, slide it out again, and we have now Tommy with Red Ranger power. And you can do this with all the others. You know, if you bought all these different mix and morph, you can actually make like a whole bunch of Frankenstein combinations. And that's the whole concept of this morpher.
I also like to point out a really bad thing Bandai did. If you look inside the morpher, there's extra little details, little nice little nods, little details extra there. If you're a fan of Digimon and you look closely between the borders around where the pieces go in, Bandai ripped off the Digivice's symbols that go around the screen.
From the first season.
Bandai does own the series too, and same thing, Toei owns the series too, so it's like there's no legal problem with it, but what is it? Why are you doing
It's Digimon, not Power Rangers. The thing about the morpher itself is nice. The good thing is there's actually a belt clip, so when you belt it, it actually looks nice. You have to really just paint the whole side to make it look like a Power Morpher, but it actually looks like a good Power Morpher. Because if you guys love Tommy, here's your dragon coin. When you close it, just to make sure, guys, close it from the top first and to the bottom. The key is really small. It has the lightning symbol on it, but you know, it's just a little gimmick thing. What I would like to point out is that I really don't recommend people buy. I mean, if you liked it, then okay, but I don't like it at all. I find this one of the most weirdest things that I've done for Power Rangers. Also, the fact Titanus is the same thing. It's a Mix and Morph base, but instead it was a big, huge hunk of junk that you open up. I can combine you inside, and that's it. It can combine with the 2010 Megazord, but
and not in the proper way.
It's not the real way to do with the Titanus, and it's actually smaller, so that was another thing. So this was like $10 to $13, $15 back when MMPR 2010 was last year. You might not care for, but it just for review, you know, for fun. For kids, I guess it's nice, but just be careful, you might lose an arm or leg or head. Other than that, it's a thing, but it's a good thing. But the 2010 line was not really a good line. It kind of failed down the drain a little bit. Join us next week for the Megazord from Power Ranger Samurai. If you come subscribe, we'll see you next week. Hey guys, like Blue25
And Origami234.
For episode 54 Ranger Review, today we have the Megazord from Power Ranger Samurai, aka the toy Origami from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. Now, the funny thing is, it looks almost exactly like the Japanese counterpart. But instead now we have the Red Ranger, just like the previous ones with blue and green. Bad part is, you can't twist. I don't know why they did this. The gimmick is when you, just like in the show, when it rolls,
It spins the feet.
and you would put the Red Ranger on here. You can actually stand him up, actually, like a tiger.
Yeah, the show shows only that one way where it's angled down, but the toy can go in any direction.
Yeah, and it's just this to activate the feet gimmick, but other than that, it's, you know, it's alright. In episode 8 of Samurai, when Kevin turned evil and
The Swordfish failed to work.
yeah, so what happened was that in the previous battle against the Gedoju, the Tall Origami was lost and it became evil.
It's similar to the Lion Tamer episode in Wild Force.
So what happened was that Jaden had to clear Kevin's mind, and then he used his lion to fight the tiger. Then when they found it, that's how they got the Tiger Sword. So now we have the Tiger Zord with the Samurai Megazord. This is actually the closest, I would say, to the Japanese counterpart. I mean, you can do the spinning feature by doing it in the back, but now it's only one side that rotates because you hooked up to the back. I mean, it's an interesting toy. It is actually the closest. Now, alteration-wise, as you guys know, it's actually smaller. The color scheme is changed. These goldish, supposed to be clear yellow.
See-through, and the spin parts over here were supposed to be chrome.
All the legs were supposed to be chrome. This was a different yellow as well.
And it went in also in a place behind the head where the pin was.
The hidden disc feature is supposed to be on the back, but now it's gone, so that's the only bad part about it. Alright, so now we have the Battlewing Megazord. When you roll it, the head and the fin does move, so that's good. But now what we do is that Kabuto takes one of the arms and puts it on the Swordfish. Swordfish tail becomes a tail. The tiger's head goes in the back. The beak for the Kabuto actually is the head, and that's how you form the Battlewing Megazord. It looks cool. It actually is pretty handy. Although it is kind of small, it's also bigger, but you know, it's worth it. But like we said in the other reviews, the price tag for these toys are not really worth the $20 and up. Now you have the Battlewing Megazord with the Samurai Megazord. Now this, just like the Tora, it's still a little weird now, but with these two, it actually, you know, makes it less weirder in the back.
They did change the way it forms though. Originally on Shinken though, the 2 feet pieces actually form on the chest.
Just like the Tora when it's formed. But now,
It's moved to the side.
it's moved to the legs, which is kind of weird. Now, just like in the show, it does, yes, now it does fly, but I wouldn't really fly it with how this one is because it looks more back heavy now due to all 3 Zords in the back, so it does look a little bit back heavy.
It does stand well. It's not like
Even though it stands well, it's not like the old Megas where if the back was heavy, it would fall back, or the front was heavy, it would fall forward. It's actually not that bad. It actually has a weight because of the bottom. The bottom is actually really well structured for the Samurai Megazord. But now there's not much really about it that you can do. It's just the same thing with just the gimmick of having this in the back. No difference. So, I mean, this is actually a good alteration if you can't afford the Shinkenger stuff, because Shinkeno is going for like 150 without shipping right now, but yeah, so that's the Megazord, aka the toy Origami. We'll see how the future toy line develops, but so join us next week for the Magilamp from Mahou Sensei Magi Ranger. Rate, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, I'm Good25.
And Russian 9234.
There was a 55 Ranger review. Today we have the Power Rangers Mystic Force, the Laser Lamp, aka the Magilamp from Mahou Sensei Magi Ranger. And this is of course used by none other than Magi Shine, aka the Solaris Knight.
Now you'll obviously know that in America it was never released. I think the main reason why it was not because it was a weapon, it was because it looks too much like Aladdin's lamp, and they probably didn't want to get sued or paid from any licensing problems. So
because
they just skipped it.
Disney owns Aladdin, and then the genie is a lamp. So the on and off switch is here. And now we have Smokey, aka Genji. You don't really see his face. You only see his face. You don't see his whole body. So
yeah, you can operate him only in this mode. When it's in gun mode, his face will not pop up.
But so to turn into gun mode, all you gotta do is just then tough. And here's the gun. Here's the gun mode. In Mystic Force, we did see it used, and the funny thing is that both in Mystic Force and Magi Ranger, we did show the episode when Blue was the only one to use the Magilamp as an attack. Because the fact that in America it was different, but in Japan it was, what happened was that the other Rangers were having problems, and Yua was, coinciding herself with whether she was really a good person or not. Smokey was just being all funny and weird. He was about to disappear because he ran away, and she found him and they were talking. So Magi Shine came back, restored Smokey, and Smokey then let her use the Magilamp, and they did the magical blue shining attack or something like that.
You have to charge it up. And that's how many times you could fire it. When it's like that, it means you're at full power and you can do the blast mode. Now the Magilamp also has a mini game into it. Basically, what it is when you do it, Smokey's head. He's telling you basically how many times to swipe it. Error. When you overswipe it, he'll just simply say you failed and stuff. If you get through the entire process, he'll just congratulate you. Yeah, it's just a simply counting game. All it does is simply go between 1 through 4, 6 through 8, and 10. For some reason, he skips 5 and 9. But if you get it correct, he just says you did a good job, and that's pretty much it.
It's speaking Japanese, and it's it's gonna be hard if you don't.
If you don't know the numbering system in Japanese, you
gotta remember you gotta remember what he says in order to swipe it.
I mean, it doesn't have that many features because it's just simply a lamp, but
There
was really no reason to not release it in America besides the Aladdin license.
And maybe the fact is that.
Yeah, it looks like a gun, but there's been many other guns in the series and they released it.
But it's actually a little nice piece of.
It's pretty well scaled actually.
For even our size, it's actually a nice little lamp, and really nice. Has the M symbol for Magi or Mystic Force, whatever the heck you want to call it. It's a nice, and it has a color scheme of Magi Shine, the black, the blue, and the gold. Get it if you really like Magi Ranger. I wouldn't say go, hey, it's just Magi Shine. It's actually a nice little toy just to have fun with. If like in Magi Ranger, it was used a lot, so it's pretty decent. And just seeing Smokey or Genji is just really cool looking because they didn't really release much of them at all during the Magi era. I know that Mandela Boy was like the only thing that actually had a solid figure, like a solid plush compared to Smokey. Get it, like I said, get it if you really care for Magi Ranger. It's one of those toys where it's like, hey, it's it's a decent size, and it's actually kind of funny to play with, especially with him talking. But yeah, so join us next week for the grip phone, aka the Solar Sun Morph phone, Power Rangers Mystic Force. Rate, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, like Blue 25
And Archer 9234.
with episode 56 of Ranger Review. Today we have the Power Rangers Mystic Force, the Solar Sun Morph, aka the grip phone from Mao Sensei and Magi Ranger.
Also including the rare limited edition.
The limited edition gold grip phone. Now, the limited edition gold grip phone was really funny how they released it. After they released the Travelon and the regular grip phone separately, after a while they had a special edition box, which it was Toys R Us exclusive. It had the gold grip phone and the Travelon. The only difference was that you get the gold grip phone. The Travelon was exactly the same as the original release. There was no difference.
The reason why this happened was because when they released the original gold grip phone, everyone was expecting it to be like, the Magi Mother phone, the Wolzard phone,
and the regular Magic phone, because every time you press the numbers, it would make
spell
codes.
But for some reason, the original grip phone, did not have any spell codes whatsoever. It had random sound effects on each of the buttons. Transformation sound effect. It times out after like 10 seconds.
Now, just a warning. These are real cards, but this is actually a hole puncher. It actually is a real hole puncher. So, for example, we'll do it again. Tenku Yushan. You can see it's actually a hole puncher. And what's really funny is that you can actually take out, just like a hole puncher, you can actually open up this right here and empty out the cards.
Yeah, this functions as a real hole puncher. Both of them do. So be careful that if you don't want to damage your cards or make holes in them, try not to hole punch them.
So we have the change card, which is you change. The random cards that they have the random spells in. When he summons Travelon, and
a lighter change cards, I guess. The gold grip phone came with the other cards that were used throughout the series, but unfortunately when I got my gold grip phone, I didn't get the extra cards. It had the memory card and the trivia card.
Oh, the memory card was used in Magi Ranger when Hoga wanted to remember where the family went doing the things, and Hikaru Sensei would just put it on and then put it on her head, and he would remember it. That's the difference. The gold grip phone was actually also limited to. They actually had special doing the TV show one.
It was aired as a mail-in video where Kai actually transformed to Kai Shine. He was like all arrogant and greedy.
Yeah, and then this is why the gold grip phone was actually released. Other than that,
they're pretty much identical except for the sound effects.
And they're the same size. They have the same gimmicks and everything. But this time when we turn the gold grip phone on,
Hikaru actually voices his spell codes.
you can do it the manual way, which is the
106. Other codes are as 803. This one summons Travelon. It uses the exact same sound effects that are on Travelon itself. Another code is 886. This is Travelon transforming. 26. $24. And then 589. And then they just recycle sound effects. 807. Pretty much it's the same way as all the other phones. You can do randomized sound effects, it doesn't matter. They all do the same sound effects. You'll also notice that on the grip phone and the gold phone, the sounds are slightly different. On the grip phone, it's a little bit slower, while on the gold one, it's a little bit faster. Every other sound effect on the grip phone is just a random noise. Zero actually activates the ticket sound effect. On the gold one, the ticket sound effect actually operates normally like it's supposed to. You don't need to hit zero, but on this one you have to. Of course, the grip phone also has the phone sound effect.
Now, alteration-wise, the American one was literally different. The difference between the American version and the Japanese version was it was smaller, but this time it was a dagger.
Yeah, and instead of including the cards, they actually included some weird dagger, I guess because he's called Daggeron. So they included this weird dagger that plugs into the top.
So it's like those two little pegs here, you plug it in, and that's how you would morph.
The sound effects were also changed, obviously. They were replaced with the US versions of the sound effects.
And they were actually low too. Just like in the Mystic Morpher, which my niece owned, the sound effects was really low.
Another change, including, is the Magi button over here. It was solid and it was connected to the main base of the thing. Another change is the antenna type. The antenna on the grip phone actually has some see-throughs and lights. There's no lights in the US one, it's all smaller. The S symbol was actually enlarged on the US one, and you cannot see inside the US version of the solar cell morpher.
And the color scheme was really different too. It was a really dark bluish, and the gold was like more darkish too.
Now, the US one also had a prototype version of the solar cell morpher, which was actually better than the one that we got. If you look on the box, you'll notice that the dagger is slightly different. It actually has Solaris Knight's S logo instead of the Mystic Force M logo, and the button from the Magi Ranger is actually retained on the US one, but in our version, the later one that we did get was the one that was cut off.
You know, the good thing about the grip phone is it has the change cards.
Yeah, well, we do see the card in the show. We never actually got it in the toy, and people kind of got confused on that.
Now, the only thing I will say is, if you have the Japanese grip phone, be warned, it is a hole puncher. So
Japan did sell extra cards, so you could like,
yeah,
like
there's
30,
actually,
40.
Just like in Kamen Rider Blade, they released the whole Joker / Ace / whatever cards they had. They had a special deck. The Magi Ranger, they actually released a small deck too, which you can just keep on pressing, keep on using the hole puncher.
Because you got like a whole bunch of like 20, 30 duplicates.
Yeah,
So you can always reuse it.
You can do this again. And look, I have another one. We do it again. We have another one. So these are the blank ones that you use, and it's a really decent, nice toy for a Magi phone. It's actually some of those random, unique toys, because who would have thought of a phone that's a hole puncher?
And you can actually use it as an actual aid, as on a paper hole puncher. It can work on all kinds of paper and stuff. This doesn't have to be only on
So technically, this is actually a plus for, hey,
you can actually use it on your desk.
Hey look, I'm at work, let me use the hole puncher. I use my thing.
It can be a practical use.
It's actually pretty funny how they did it. This is one of those random items like, oh snap, it actually works even without a toy. So it's actually pretty cool. I would say that, it's something worth getting. Like I said, the gold grip phone is only available in the Toys R Us Special Edition box, which included the Travelon and this gold grip phone. The box art was actually different. It was just
It was basically the same box, but it was just simply white.
And it had the special edition in Japanese, and it said something else on it.
Yeah, grip phone, gold grip phone. That's all it said.
But if you guys want, get the grip phone.
Yeah, I suggest you get the gold grip phone and not really the blue one. The blue one for aesthetics, if you really cared about that. The gold one has actual spell code.
But the only thing is that this will run you a pretty penny because it was a limited edition at Toys R Us.
So it's really difficult.
It's really
to find.
hard. So join us next week for the Korak Sword and Shield from Mystic Force. If you come subscribe, we'll see you next week. Hey guys, Echo 25.
And Archer 9234.
Episode 57 Ranger Review. Today we have the Korak Sword and Shield from Power Rangers Mystic Force, aka Miles Inside Magi Ranger. And so we have a villain weapon now.
Like last time, the villain weapons and gear and other stuff were not released in America, so we never got the
Korak Sword and Shield. Now,
but we did get the US version for Mystic Red. It was different, but it had a similar design to it.
Similar design, but of course, due to Bandai America thinking, oh, evil people, evil villains, they're not gonna sell because kids won't want, bad guys. so this was not released. Alright, so this is a sword and shield. Now, this is the sword. As you can see, it's an okay handle, but it really hurts. This is a really hard plastic.
Yeah, there's no rubber on anything. It's actually solid.
It's not like, well, it's a little bit rubber, but
it's still, you can still hurt people with
like,
that.
This thing hurts. And we have the shield. Now, as you guys can see, the shield is really small. It isn't that big, so, you know.
That's its only drawback. You can put the sword inside the shield if you want to pose it like that, or have it outside.
And it has lights and sounds on all switches right here, so we just press the...
It just reuses the sound effects from the Wolzard phone.
I mean, that's it. The back design is pretty...
It's very sturdy, you can't really take it off.
Yeah, just like before, here's a sword and shield, here's a sword and shield out. It's a really interesting gimmick.
Unfortunately, there was no release of the red version when he was turned good, so you only get the evil version.
Yeah, in Magi Rangers and in Mystic Force, when the Wolf Knight or Korag turned good, he had the red version. And I gotta say, the red version was actually kind of cooler looking. It's the reddish, yellow, and black. Now the funny thing is that his phone didn't even get a red version, but people have been able to customize it to make it the Fire Kaiser version. Like I said, this thing, it hurts. So
yeah, you could hurt people with that thing. That could be another reason why it wasn't released too. I mean, you could actually injure people with that.
This thing is not. If you think this is like a piece of rubber, think again. This thing is pretty hard, solid plastic. This is just really much lights and sounds. You can do it like this or like this.
Get it if you really want to get Korag stuff, because if you live over here, you can never get it. So if you really want it that way, other than that, there's really no reason to get it.
It's released in Bandai Asia already, so pick it up if you can. It's not going to be that expensive compared to back in the days when Japan had it. But pick it up if you really like Korag a lot, but if you just don't really care much of Magi Ranger or Mystic Force, then don't get it, because it's one of those toys where it's like, yeah, I like it, but is it really worth it? Because one, as a collector, it's pretty small. The shield is really small. The sword, decent size, could have been longer, but it hurts. That's about it. Alright, so join us next week for the Mystic Lion Staff, aka the Dial Rod from Magi Ranger. Rate, come subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, I'm Blue25.
And Archer 9234.
For episode 58 Ranger Review, today we have the Mystic Force Lion Staff from Power Rangers Mystic Force, aka the Dial Rod from Mahou Sentai Magi Ranger. So here we have the Dial Rod, and it comes in two pieces.
Yeah, it's not broken. This is how it was originally packaged. You're allowed to take off the bottom half and reconnect it to the top. All you gotta do is you just simply spin it, and then it eventually locks into place.
It's actually a okay size.
Yeah, it's decent for a collector or for a kid. It's decent enough.
I mean, this is actually for grip. It's pretty good. Really cool. It has the sticker. I guess you could say the stickers are really shiny looking. So here's the on and off switch on the top.
It reuses the exact same sound effect from the Magi phone.
There's a button on the back where you're supposed to push, so we'll do 4.
Four, as you all know, is that it's what Nick uses in order to transform into the Mystic Firebird.
Or Kai, if you guys want to call him Magi Ranger.
Fifth code is used to transform everyone into the lion. And that's it. It only has 5 codes. The first 3 are just attacks, primary attacks. It doesn't really do anything else, unfortunately.
Yeah, but in the Magi Rangers, you guys remember, they've done like about 10 to 12 codes on this thing. every episode since they got the Cho Maho Legend. Alright, so alteration wise from the Dial Rod from the Lion Staff.
Full mold change. It's completely different compared to the Japanese version. The US one does have one positive feature to it though.
The crossbow mode when Magi Yellow does it.
Yeah, there's no crossbow mode at all, and it doesn't shoot anything.
Another alteration is that the gold yellowish.
It was changed to a different yellow color.
It was more like orangish yellow, so it wasn't like this gold yellowish.
Then they added a bump on the base. I don't know why. It was like a curved thing.
I don't know why. Crossbow mode is when it's opened up and
it shoots discs.
It shoot like foam disc out, like those Nerf glasses that you see often. That's what it did. And the numbers were changed to red. I don't know why they changed it to red. It was kind of weird.
And of course the electronics were changed. We were not going to hear what we originally hear.
But you know, it's a good and bad alteration at the same time. The good alteration, crossbow mode. The bad alteration is
everything else.
The color, like the color scheme, the red was almost like clear red, but the Magi Staff, the Dial Rod is more
show accurate,
and it looks more nicer. The only bad part is that you can't do any other mode. That's the only difference. If you guys want it, then go for it, but it's more like you don't have to get this. You can get the US one, but if you don't mind the sound effects and all this nice stuff. But if you do care more about the color change and the show accuracy, you get the Dial. Other than that, they're both like, this is also another toy, which is like, yeah, it don't really matter. You can get it if you want. But I would say it's a decent toy, but if it had more sound effects, it'd be so much better. Get it if you really like Magi Major and you care about it. If you don't really give a crap about the whole sounds and all that, then get the Lion Staff.
Because it does have that shooting feature.
And it's crossbow, so that's something. You can't do any other mode with these, so that was kind of a downside to the staff. But yeah, so join us next week for the Digimorpher, aka the Keitaizer. Rate, comment, subscribe. See you next week. Hey guys, I'm Go25.
And Archer 9234.
With episode 59, I'm going to review today. We have the Power Rangers in space, the Digimorpher, aka the Keitaizer from Danger Sentai Mega Ranger. It's actually a really interesting phone.
It's the first time we actually in Super Sentai or PR where we actually use a phone.
And actually it looks like a real phone too, which is really cool.
This also started the trend where every series had to be using cell phones, unfortunately.
And you know, it looks like a good. Actually, back in the days, this would actually look.
Well, that was a state-of-the-art phone design back in '97.
Yeah, this was actually a cool looking phone. So compared to a regular phone right now,
it's the same size. Ironically, yeah, they would stay small.
It's actually pretty good, you know. But on and off switch right here. But first, we'll open it up. We press the button. Remember, guys, this thing actually does.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't open up automatically. All the codes are on the back of the battery compartment, so you'll know which one goes.
Unfortunately, you kill the sticker.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have the same amount of codes and features from the Astromorpher.
Now, just like the Astromorpher, it does have that standby sound where it just beeps.
In the earlier days, they did that on all the morphers.
Oh yeah, here's this is like the A and B version mode. So what you do is press it. Install. This toy is pretty loud. Now let's do only the other modes. A mode is, press it again, 259.
This summons his bike, aka the Cyber Slayer.
Now we'll do the computer, 148.
I think it's the scanning mode.
.506.
This is the calling mode. This can be used as an alarm to wake you up in the morning.
And then we have the final mode, which is one of my favorite modes, the theme song mode. Now, the funny thing about the Keitaizer is that
It
all the top 9 buttons are the same. 1, 4, and 7, 2, 5, 8, 3, 6, 9. They all say M, E, G, and then the 0 is A for Mega. Alright, so now alteration wise. Funny thing is,
not that much was changed from the Digimorph to the Keitaizer.
the only difference is that they didn't have the Mega Light, it was just a
Sticker.
on-screen Mega, and that's about it.
I didn't get why they took it out because I had to actually repair this one. We got it from CS Studies. It was damaged, unfortunately. And really, there was only really 4 LED lights in there. It was really was it that expensive to keep it in there?
Funny thing is, this toy was a $10 toy back in 1997, and now it's like a $60 toy right now, and the Japanese version goes higher. I will say that what's really, really interesting is that we kept all the sounds, we even kept the theme song. So back in 1997, when kids did 730 and they played a song, they're like,
It's not the In Space theme song.
what
It's
in
the
the
Mega
world
Ranger
is this?
theme
This is
song.
actually Mega Ranger. You know, it's a really nice, decent toy, of course.
It doesn't have all the features, unfortunately, from the Astro Morpher. The Astro Morpher does have more features, including that game.
The game. I mean, if they put a game in here, that would have been like brilliant, but I guess
They probably couldn't fit it because of the theme song.
the theme song is it's the whole Mega Ranger theme song.
So you hear it, the entire 1 minute 30 seconds of it. I mean, you could get, if you really wanted the Silver Morpher for the Silver Ranger, you could get the US one. There's really not much to complain
The only
about.
difference is if you don't mind about
The lights. That's it. That's really the only thing.
the whole
Everything
Mega
else, everything from sound effects to the mold itself is all the same.
It's completely unchanged, and we kept the theme song. That is the most craziest thing I've ever seen Bandai Namco do.
And also, this was also re-released back in the Lost Galaxy line with the Silver Ranger figure later on.
Yeah,
Same thing.
It was a reissue. The Silver Ranger figure came in the Mega Winger Megazord, and it included the Silver Ranger. The Silver Ranger top, it will say Super Samuraizer. And then in the Lost Galaxy era, where we had the Power Playback era also, they re-released this packaged with the Silver Ranger, just like the Dragon Dagger, with the green Automorph Ranger.
And the re-released Turbo Morpher.
And also the re-released Space Blaster as well, but it was green instead. Get it? Definitely get this.
Or the US one, either one.
It's really something to fun, and the whole MG lights, it's awesome. But yeah, so join us next week for the Power Rangers in Space, the Mega Winger. Rate, come subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, it's Blue25.
Naruto 9234.
With episode 60 of Ranger Review, today we have the Power Rangers in Space, the Deluxe Mega Winger, aka the Mega Winger from the Ninja Sentai Mega Ranger. So now we have the Mega Winger, the Space Rangers Mecha.
This was premiered late in space, actually.
Very late, like around, if I remember correctly, around the October-November line.
It was the asteroid episode.
This is the shuttle mode. The gun, you can actually take it off. You don't have to have it on, but you know, just like the show, it will open up.
When it launches from the base, yeah.
And then it launches out. But this is, if you want to store the little Gatling gun, you just have to pop it in. There's no peg or whatever, you just pop it in and you're done. Funny thing is, for Megazord mode, this is not like any other toy where we have to flip back and forth. There's just 2-3 buttons and you're done. What you do is that there's 2 buttons on the back of the winger here. The first one launches the legs down. Then the second one will open up the arms. Then for the middle, you just pop the head, and there's your Mega Ring. And you can actually take off the shuttle. You can do it like this, or you can have the shuttle on and just pull the wings of the shuttle. And you just like before, just pop it back or whatnot. And just like your standardized Megazord movement, only the arms. You can actually hold the Gatling gun 2 ways. The first way is like this. When you do this is how he would hold it. You can't really do much like this, but it's some way of just having it, because if you don't want to put it back, you just put it in the front. And of course, to use the weapon, you just gotta put his fist inside. he is holding the Gatling gun.
This mode is also compatible with the Megazord. You're allowed to use the wing piece attached to the Megazord.
Yeah, so you go up there and you have this. Now the funny thing is that it actually looks better like this when it's down. Now Alteration-wise, guess what? It was unchanged. Space was actually one of the only series that had the closest. When we released it, it was unchanged. But the only difference between the American version and Japanese version was that we had a Silver Ranger, the 8-inch Silver Ranger. What the Silver Ranger did was you had a timing button. You press say this is a Silver Ranger, you press the middle, he'll say Super Silverizer. He came with 2 accessories, the Super Silverizer in gun mode and in sword mode. Other than that, he was just like the 8-inch figures that we got from MMPR days. The only difference is he actually talked. Other than that, you know, it's a really good toy. Everything's complete. Like when we say unchanged, Chrome was kept. The stickers even are kept. It actually says on the side, Mega W, which is Mega Winger. Even the wings have the M sign on it too, so that was pretty interesting to see. Now, the funny thing is that he only has 2 sets of wheels, 2 right here and 2 right here. The difference is that there's supposed to be 6, there's supposed to be 8, but as you guys can see closely, the wheels actually roll. They're more bigger than the standard glued ones. So,
and they did the same thing in the SBD line, where some of the wheels are fake.
Chrome, like I said, Chrome was kept everywhere. Even the schematics was kept. The button pressing and all that. You know, it was actually pretty interesting to do. But if you guys wanted to do the show formation, you actually can do it. But you would have to have them like this in order to actually do it like the show. But you know, that's at least something you can do. Recommend it if you are in space or Mega Ranger fan. It's actually really good to have it. But I will say that a lot of people will lose pieces. You can either lose the handguns or the wing, because people just take off the wing. And you guys
haven't people lost the head before?
I don't get how the head. I've seen people that go on eBay and have no head. I don't know how you can just pull off the head, because it's actually pretty tight unless you actually.
It's not like the Omega Megazord from Lightspeed. That would pop off easy.
But this one, you can pop off, but I think you would have to be really crazy. But yeah, so join us next week for the Power Rangers Jungle Fury Jungle Pride Megazord. Rate, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, it's 25
and R9234.
Episode 61 of Ranger Review. Today we have the Power Rangers Jungle Fury, the Jungle Pride Megazord, aka the Geki Changer from Juken Sentai Geki Rangers. So here's the Jungle Pride Megazord, the Tiger, Jaguar, and Cheetah. So here's the Lion Zord. Now just to let you guys know, the tail was actually like a L shape-ish kind of thing. It wasn't really. It was mostly the stand for the sword when they did the staff formation. The movement is his mouth does open, which is good.
You can move the paws.
The paws do open, and you can twist it.
Yeah, but not much movement on anything else really that much.
The back is just solid.
Up and down, yeah, it's not much.
But you know, he actually, you know, he's actually one of those interesting ones that you can actually do like a good hold. Like,
he's also the one that stores the motorized feature.
The motor is actually back here. This is where you put the batteries in.
I didn't like it though that there's no lock feature, so he's always going to be like movable.
Yeah, because just like before, look, he's already tilted from one side, and the motor it doesn't lock or anything, so you can always spin.
It's not like other ones that let you lock it into position.
Now here's the Jaguar, the Blue Ranger's primary Zord. Funny thing about this, he has sunglasses. I don't know what they were thinking of. You can move the head because of the Megazord mode, and the mouth does open. Now what's interesting about the mouth, there's actually a little nice detail of the tongue under it. Now this, you know, like a Jaguar, he actually can do this. This is like the only close thing you can have, because since the leg isn't really...
Yeah, it's solid, it doesn't move unfortunately.
This actually can move the whole thing around. It actually looks cool when you do this. This color scheme for blue is actually like almost like a violet. If you look at it closely, it looks almost violet, but it's actually like a navy darkish blue. The final mech we have for the Jungle Pride is the Cheetah Zord. Now the Cheetah Zord is just a cheetah, you know? The only bad part about this one is actually one of the worst ones out of all three because
it doesn't really move as much.
You can't lock, unlike the Jaguar where it can lock, this one can't, it just has a free moving.
And the head doesn't really move as much, it's either up or fully up due to transformation.
Yeah.
It doesn't go down.
Yeah, and like the Jaguar, like all of them, all three mouths do open, so that's the really, really rare occasion where we got all three Zords with moving mouths.
The tail will connect over here next to this peg.
Same thing with the Jaguar, the tail will connect to that peg down there. It's not really a hole, it's just a big peg instead. But other than that, you know, same detail. You see a little tongue there, and that's it. The only good part about this, you can actually raise his head up and down. That's about it. The only movement I see you do is this. Now we have the Jungle Pride Megazord, aka the Geki Changer. What you do is that, now the only gimmick is because it's motorized. The thing is that when you have all three tails, you hook them all up.
And they become the staff.
Now the thing is that you would have to put two pieces in one, because you have to, it's not like a regular Zord where you can hold it. It's with Tiger's tail inside the fist, and because it has a little hole, then you put the other two on, and that's how you make the staff. Now the gimmick, like we said, is motorized. So what you do is you turn it on. Just like the show, press the middle button.
And it spins around. Basically doing the finishing spinning move.
The other thing is when you hold it and you press the back of the lion.
So the key spin move.
Now the funny thing about this Zord is that it actually reminds me of the Megazord due to the fact that the legs,
the
tiger, the saber tiger and the triceratops
are in the same position.
And the peg actually looks almost the same. But the difference is that unlike the original Megazord where we can just pull it off, for the Jungle Pride, you guys gotta be careful.
There's locks.
There's locks. What you have to do is you press the lock and that's how you actually open it.
I prefer actually Megazords that do have locks over those that don't because it makes less chance of it falling out when like either you're moving it or you do something.
Alteration-wise,
there's only one alteration done to the Jungle Pride, to the Geki Changer.
The lights. The lights of the fist actually had lights, so when it does the attack,
you see it spinning
and it's
doing like a blur effect when you're seeing it.
Now the funny thing is that the box art for the Jungle Pride Megazord actually shows it. It actually shows that it has lights in it, which is really, really weird because, but you do clearly see that there's supposed to be lights inside the fist because they are see-through.
Because everything else for the Jungle Pride is identical to the Geki Changer. The entire mold is identical. Even to the point where they show the Bandai logo on it. Usually on the US toys, that's usually omitted completely, but it's still there on the American toys.
So mainly much what Bandai America did was just input the Japanese one and just took out the lights. That's about it. You even can see the pegs for the Zords, the bat, the tiger, the lion, and all of those. Back in the days, Jungle Fury was actually the last toy line to use the word deluxe. But get the Geki Changer, everyone likes, but if you can't afford it, just
get the US one. It doesn't really matter.
It's the same mode, everything's kept, no paint changes, no nothing. Literally, the lines right here, and even for the Jaguar, the whole things are all nothing, no paint changes, nothing. Join us next time for the transforming line of the Jungle Fury Megazords. Please subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, I'm Blue 25.
And I'm 1934.
Episode 62 of Ranger Review. Today we have the Power Rangers Jungle Fury, the transforming line. This is the first time that Bandai started the changing of the modes with Jungle Fury, having the deluxe and the so-called transforming versions. The transforming versions we'll say it right now, they do not work on the deluxe versions at all. These are completely different.
You have to buy the transforming Jungle Pride in order for them to work with.
The transforming line, they had, the first wave was the elephant, the bat, and the shark. Then they made, and also the Jungle Pride Megazord separately. Then they made, like the bazooka that they had, it was a kind of random Zord. The wolf, the lion, and chameleon. And then the final one was the Vinyl Steel Megazord. But here is the elephant and the bat. You know, articulation-wise,
Limited.
very limited. You can't really do it.
Nose doesn't move, the horns don't move, there's just stuff like that. There's not even, it does have a tail, but it's painted on.
It's not like the tail that you had in the regular version. And the bat, well,
It can move its wings forward and back, but there's less articulation because, again,
these are the transforming ones, not the deluxe version. And we have tried it that these do not work with the deluxe at all because
they're slightly
actually
small.
Smaller by like a few inches, not by much, but they're actually smaller. So they cannot fit on the deluxe version of the Jungle Pride and the Jungle Master Megazord.
And here we have the Jungle Pride with Bat Power.
That's basically the only transformation you could do with the Jungle Pride Megazord and the transforming.
The thing is that like since like we said smaller, you can see right here.
It's not really connecting correctly.
It looks like it is, but it's actually not. But other than that, you know, this is actually the point you can get, but you're not gonna get much with it. You can see that the Jungle Pride actually has all the connected pieces, so as you can tell, you need the deluxe ones connected to the deluxe versions. Alteration wise, the Japanese one, they get the deluxe versions of every single of the auxiliary swords. The only difference is that ours is transforming, so you can see it's smaller, and the movements are actually restricted.
Yeah, there's only one movement on the American version, while the Japanese version has like 3 points of movement.
The bat, it does do this, but in the Japanese version, these fins actually fold back and forth. They can do up and down.
You can also move the head a little bit on the Japanese.
But you can't move the head on this one. But it does look nice. The elephant, of course.
The Japanese mold is still different compared to the elephant Zord's mold. Basically, the nose was changed. It had much more paint inside the nose. The ball was a lot bigger because the mold was originally bigger. The horns were the same way. You may not remember it being orange, but there was orange on him. The feet were also different too. While on the US one they carved out the save on plastic, the Japanese one is a full leg mold, and the tail wasn't just painted on, it was actually fully assembled. While the transforming one it does transform pretty much the exact same way as the original Japanese deluxe. It still will not fit on deluxe.
You need the transforming one to go to the transforming one, and the deluxe one with the deluxe one. Just get the deluxe versions, because the transforming ones, it's an alteration. It's an alteration if you can't really get all the English, the deluxe versions. But other than that, there's no reason why you can't just get the Japanese version, because they are actually released in Asia right now. They're pretty cheap. They're not gonna run you like about $80 anymore, but they'll run you about 40 to 60. So that's a good price comparison compared to back in the day when these games were going for like 80, 90 ships. So join us next week for Jared's Lion Zord and Camille's Communion Zord from Jungle Fairy. Rate, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, at Glue25
And RT9234.
with episode 63 Range Review. Today we have the Power Rangers Jungle Fairy, the Lion and Chameleon Zord, aka the Rin Lion Rin Camelon from Jukin Sentai Geki Changer. We actually got the deluxe version, but it was called the Ultimate Megazord, and it was actually a Disney exclusive. So now we have the Lion Zord. Nice little paint scheme, the gold and the black, just like Jared or Rio. Movement is just.
Yeah, just the feet. Unfortunately, yeah. And the mouth moves too.
The mouth opens, which is really nice. I like having.
I didn't like that the tail doesn't move at all. Since it's part of the sword, it doesn't really do much. It's just there.
He is a nice display, actually.
Oh, when he's displaying it, he's nice.
He's really cool, especially in the front. As you can see, he looks nice.
And it's weird that the a villain usually gets a different animal, and while the hero usually gets a lion. But in this case, we got a tiger and he got the lion.
So it's vice versa, which is really cool, and you can tell by the back. The outlines are pretty good, you know, it's not that bad. Although I wish they did paint a little here, you know, just because you see little squares.
The extra detail, yeah.
For the extra details, but overall, it's actually cool Zord. So now we have one of the smallest Zords I've actually seen. The Chameleon is a Chameleon, and the only gimmick is...
Yeah, its tongue sticks out, that's all it does. Really, it's nothing really
this,
amazing.
I was hoping that Bandai would make this move at least, but they didn't, and this is the only thing it can do. It's really small. It has a good handle though. From here, you can holding it, it's actually a good handle. But other than that, this thing is...
There's nothing really to it. You can't move the feet.
I don't like the fact that it only does this. It's like it's sticking something out. The detail's okay, the horn is not bad, but like I said, I was hoping to at least move this thing instead of just putting it like that, because it doesn't do much after that, you know? So now we have the Lion Chameleon Zord with the Jungle Pride, aka the Geki Rin Toja. This actually is one of my favorite formations in Geki Ranger. Although I'm not a big fan of Geki Ranger, this was actually my favorite mode in the whole series just because it looks really cool. The fact that the lion's the head and the armor and just that.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like, of course, is that, again, the chameleon does absolutely nothing. It's just attached to the hand and then sticks out its tongue.
That's the only downside to it, but I actually like this formation because of how it looks. You know?
I know, it's a rare case where we have a villain actually combined with the hero. That usually doesn't happen.
But the only downsides I have about it is that it can't do much.
Yeah, it's good as a display piece, but as functionality, it doesn't do much.
It's a really good display, functioning wise. The other auxiliary Zords do have a better, playability than this, because all this is just I add 2 armors and a little tongue guy, and that's it. With the others, we actually have the bat, you can actually fold the wings. The elephant, you can actually shoot something out. The shark had the twin blades, and the wolf, we placed the feet and it actually looked better too. But this, display-wise, yes. You can actually also do the Geki Wolf Toja, which is the movie version when they did the combination with.
But you can also do, like, for example, take one of the feet from the Jungle Master, use it, and then hook up either the bat for the wing and then the head you can put on, and it'll be like
because
Geki Rin Toja bat.
The wolf and the bat, they can still connect, and the fact that the Jungle Master, aka the Geki Fire, has a similar connectors.
Yeah, you could swap the Geki Fire / Jungle Master feet between either one.
So you can have the penguin and everything. The gimmicks are pretty not limited, so that's actually something that I liked. Alteration wise,
nothing.
That's actually shocking because the Disney exclusive was actually the same Japanese import. They even kept the logo on the sword.
Yeah, not only that it's the original mold from Japan, and they didn't alter any of the paint job, but it's actually a Japanese import, and that's probably why they originally wanted to sell it for $100, because this is actually an import because they have the original Japanese writing.
The Japanese writing's on it, and even says Bandai 2007 Thailand. So
yeah, it's the original Japanese mold. They didn't reissue it for America. They just took stock from toy stock and then brought it over, and that's probably why we can get away with selling it for $100. You might have gotten away with it if you had said this is a direct import, and if you had simply imported the Geki Toja too, you might have gotten away with it, but not with just one.
But it's worth it if you can still get it. I would say go get it. It is cool, and Geki Ranger this was near the end of the series that we actually saw this, and this was actually the movie exclusive combination until later on in the series. But yeah, join us next time for the season 4 premiere of Ranger Review with the Power Rangers Samurai Battleizer. Rate, comment, subscribe. We'll see you soon. Also, another fact that this week is the starting week of Chinese New Year, so for all you Asians out there, 恭喜發財, 身體健康, and we'll see you next week. Alright, in translation, it means Happy Chinese New Year and good luck. So that means that. Ooh, I should have missed it. So join us next week for the Samurai figures, aka the Power Rangers Samurai figures.
You should not do that. It doesn't ignore that.
Do it again. Hey guys, like Blue 25.
Archer 9234.
Episode 44 Ranger Review. Today we have the new Power Rangers Samurai Megazord, aka the Shinken-O from.
I forgot the name of the damn show.
I was like, Shinken, I just remembered.
What the hell is the name of the damn title?
Samurai Sensei Shinkenger.
Alright, how do we feel that?
How the oh my god.
How do we feel that?
Oh my god. We just added Samurai in the beginning. But on another note that Toy Fair, they did show that we will be getting more of these Samurai stuff. There is a role-playing set from what they've shown, but right now it's still debatable if it will actually be a good one or will it be this real disc or this crappy small disc. It's not known yet, but we are going to get some good stuff like the Ika Origami, the Swordfish, Kajiki Origami, and we will also be getting basic figures, which is really nice to know, so we'll be finding those. And finally, after how many years in Power Rangers, we finally get a reader figure.
18 years.
18 years. So instead of I've been away sleeping for 10,000 years, it's 18 years. So hopefully we guys see that. Now you're wondering why is it that green is the one that has a Kabuto, but
red started, yeah.
But if you guys watch Shinkenger, red got the Toro Origami, and then gave
which is the Tiger Zord.
The Tiger Zord, and gave green the Beetle one. So that's why we have this.
It might also be risking the break because it might wear out over time.
Because it's a plastic, and it actually can break because it doesn't have anything on the back. It's just a little piece of plastic. You can have them like that. It actually looks kind of funny like that anyway, though.
It looks more like a Bionicle that way.
Now it does.
I also noticed something really weird. The Retrofire series is the only toy that shows the word Saban with the Power Rangers Samurai logo. If you look at every other toy, the name Saban is missing on there for some weird reason.
Now, alteration-wise, beside the back that off. Son of a bitch. If you're an adult collector, your hands will not fit this unless you actually
modify the
strap to make it fit you.
It'd be the similar problem that you have to deal with the Kamen Rider belts.
Yeah, some of the belts, they don't fit people a lot, so you have to get the deluxe collect edition set or the belt, the wrist
the belt extender.
The belt extender, which costs more money. Hey guys, like Blue 25
and Archer 9234.
Episode 52.
I told you right before it, and you still.
I up again. Okay. They included the.
It's still funny though that the yellow power coin is still yellow anyway by default, so it's kind of weird that they painted yellow anyway.
Just a darker, lighter yellow. Funny thing is, Japan actually copied us.
Yeah, later on, starting from
Ranger, they had Automorphins. No, wait, Kaku Rangers.
Oh, it was Kaku.
Kaku Rangers started the Automorphins in Japan, and they started copying us, so it was like pretty cool.
But then that was it. After a while, they went back to their Sufubi figures that are just vinyl, and they don't look that good.
Maybe the toy didn't sell, we don't know, but...
Yeah, Japan for some reason doesn't like our action figures the way we make them. But we don't like their versions of action figures.
But yeah, Japan for some reason likes how we do things with figurines. Because unlike our figures, we can do posability with them. We have moving stuff. The figurines for Japan, they're like just plain stiff. Like I move it up and down. That's it. No bending joints. No nothing.
Only the SH figures are posable.
SH figures are really posable. Hey guys, like Blue 25
and Archer 9234.
Episode 54. I went one episode ahead.
53! 54 is nowhere near here.
I gotta say, what the heck is this?
I know, instead of getting a power morpher like it's supposed to be, we get this.
The funny thing is, this is actually a power morpher, yes, but when did a power morpher open up?
Oh, come on.
I don't like this toy at all.
No. The Japanese one's probably bad too.
In episode 9, in the beginning where they found when they got all three, they were choosing who would keep what. Kevin got to keep the Swordfish. Jaden would keep the Tora, and then they gave Mia the Kabuto, but Hector wanted the Kabuto instead.
Mike.
Oh. Hector's his name. Let's see how much the Megazord. How do you form the Megazord? Okay. We need to take out.
It's mainly the same way except the boob part.
We need to take out the boobs and put them on the legs. After they released the Travelon and the
Grip phone
separately.
You left it on. You left it on.
Well, let's do the in space. Let's rock it. Really, like a hole puncher?
They fell out.
Yeah, and you know the thing falls out too. In Japan, they always have random special releases. Like in Deca Ranger was the special edition Deca Ranger Robo, which was a black and purple one, like this, but it was black and purple. And in Magi Rangers, they had like a few limited edition stuff. But they actually had a figurine of the Magi Rangers. Magi Red was gold. Magi Korag was silver. That was a figurine exclusive. I don't know. I forgot how that one worked, but every single series there's always a special edition on this thing. So join us next week for the Mystic Lion Staff, aka the Mystic Rod. You! God damn it! God damn you, Mystic Force! Hey guys, Blue25.
And Archer9234.
In episode 59, Major Review. Today we have the Power Rangers in Space Digimorph Raid, aka the Keitaizer from
Denji Sentai Mega Ranger.
I watched the Mega Ranger series just last week and I forgot what the hell. And I'd like to thank CS Toys International and Mr. S for the Keitaizer. They had this on the eBay auction and I won this. And I'll put the link on the sidebar. We'll put the link of him packaging for us. Now, when Mr. S or CS Toys, when I bought it from them, they gave me the pamphlet. It features all the Rangers from all 35 Super Sentai series, back and front.
Yeah, it's just a small pamphlet that came with it just to show off all the stuff from Gokaiger.
And smart ass, he holds it like this. Oh, really?
This is also compatible with the Mega.
Now, if he does it like this, you've got to be me. He loves this thing. But what's really funny is that Toys actually released the exclusive that had the Jungle Pride Transformer version and all the auxiliary Zords that can combine with the Jungle Pride. It's something that Bandai tried, but I guess the whole gimmick didn't really work out well, I guess.
I don't get why they just didn't release the deluxe one. What was the issue?
They already released 2 of the deluxe versions already, and
I was like, well, just release them in a pack. Was it that hard?
just like how Dino Thunder did it, they could have done that too, because
Yeah, the Jungle Pride could have came with the elephant first. The Jungle Master could have came with
the bat.
And Saidaio, the Rhino Steel Megazord could have came with the
Shark.
Wolf. The Shark or Wolf or both. I don't know.
They could have done a pack with the.
Well, they could have had a pack with all the deluxe sets.
So yeah, join us next week for Jared's Lion Zord and Chameleon Zord. You know, I'm just gonna call him Melee, okay? Because he's
No, just like Camille's Chameleon Zord. Camille's.
in the Disney exclusive, it was about $100 when it first came out. That's still an outrageous price because you're paying $40 for the Jungle Pride, then you're like paying $60 for the.
I know, which didn't make any sense because there's 5 Zords and we've had 5 Zords in many seasons. Why is it $100?
And it didn't really make sense because it's just this one and this one. I would say the max would be $30 for them, but Disney released random stuff, and it was just kind of weird stuff going on around things. So that's just it. The funny thing is that this is actually the first time in about a few years that we actually kept an import. The last time we actually got Japanese modes was in Mystic Force, and of course you guys know Operation Overdrive was a horrible loss.
Yeah, but this is also the first time we actually sold the Japanese imports internationally throughout the state, instead of like how they sold the Ginga O and FAO Schwartz only.
The Ginga FAO Schwartz was actually one of those random Sentai moments, because due to the fact that back in the days, not many of us kids knew what the heck Sentai was. So seeing a Japanese Ginga O and it says Power Rangers Lost Galaxy on it, it made you wonder like, huh? What the hell?